All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D, campaign number 2 of Black Ink and Blue Blood. Last time, Gil and Raccoon put on a spectacular performance at the first tournament round of the Summer Ball. The Summer Ball itself has officially begun, and with the tournament over, people are beginning to file out of the arena, starting to head, those who are still conscious and healthy, starting to head home so they can start getting ready for the fancy to-do that will be beginning late in the night. Um, uh, Zephyr, you intruded in the home of Dr. Watson and found a few small inklings of planning regarding the Scar Concord, but had to leave before you were detected. Raccoon and Gil put on a fantastic show, and Lucian got to watch the show. So, Zephyr, you and Lucian file out with the audience as Gil and Raccoon leave the arena. You guys have already been told that the next round will be taking place. The next round for you will be taking place the day after tomorrow, but there will be a round tomorrow should you choose to watch. And with that, the four of you meet back up as people are filing away from the arena and starting to head back to their respective homes, ready for tonight's the first night of the party. What would the four of you like to do?
Well, for one, I want to go get cleaned up.
Raccoon at this point just yells, "I go do Lucian's makeup again."
Yeah. Do you want to come to my room so that you can bring your dress if you'd like to?
I need to grab it from Lorcan. But yes, I need to grab it from Lorcan. So yes, I will.
Okay, I will let the guard know to let you come in.
Okay. You've already
Whoa,
done
whoa, uh-oh.
Yeah, I will
What
head
was
back to the guest house and let the front guard know to expect Raccoon.
Okay. In the meantime, so Raccoon, we've established what you're doing, and Gil, you're heading back to get cleaned up. Zephyr, what are you going to be doing before the party?
One second.
Well, while he's dealing with that, so Lucian, easy enough to do. You notice, Lucian, as you start heading back to the guest house, that ordinarily the front, the little topiary garden out front is constantly full of like activity as various nobles and commoners mingle as much as they can. But as you approach, it is completely abandoned, and you can hear a lot of activity in the guest house as people start scrambling to get their outfits and presentation together before tonight's event. But you've already done this routine before. The guard just kind of gives you that same kind of skittish nod as you let him know to expect the small goblin. And now that you're back, Zephyr, what would you like to do? Just so I know what everyone's doing.
How much time is till the ball?
As of this moment, in total, I'd say you have if you want to just show up right on the dot of the event starting, at this point you'd have about 6 or 7 hours.
All right.
Because it starts very late at night, so that people who competed in the tournament have time to get some rest before joining the festivities.
Yeah. Yes. Zephyr will. He will go in his room and take care of a few.
All right, nice and vague. I like it. So, Lucian, as you head for the guest house, the rest of you
Quote,
head back to.
"Quote unquote," take care of a few things.
The rest of you start heading back to Lorcan's. Gil, you're able to get cleaned up easily enough. Raccoon, you gather what you need and start making your way to the guest house. Zephyr, you're able to head up to your room unobstructed. What few things would you like to take care of?
I mean, yes, I will make sure I just put on my little uniform that my family gave me. Make sure I'm
Mhm.
ready to be their servant.
Presentable. Mm-hmm.
And then I would like to put away some stuff.
Okay, what you putting away?
Uh, he's gonna put away basically almost everything on him except for um yeah, he'll just put everything away, just kind of like all his item or all his like
Yeah,
equipment,
basically like just getting down to your civvies.
and just making sure that I mean, we're not here to look for a fight, so he's not gonna
Mm.
bring any weapons or anything like that.
Okay. Uh, Committing to the bit. Good enough. All right. Okay. So, Raccoon, you're able to enter the guest house unobstructed and help Lucian with their makeup. Again, you can roll for it if you want, but I will accept like just essentially taking a kind of average roll if you don't want to, like, because you've already done this several times. So.
I do want to point out that instead of the usual life symbol that she has on, she actually has a different symbol on that is the symbol of the god of death. And then under her like I guess her skirt, she'll like tie one like her focus um around her thigh just in
Okay.
case.
All right. Okay. Very nice touch. I like it. Okay. All right. So, Raccoon, are you going to roll for makeup or just take a kind of average middle ground?
Let me roll real quick. I need to find my dice.
Sure thing.
Everything in the entire living room has been moved to the center, so where I usually keep my dice, there's some. Found them. They were in. That is a natural 20.
Nice. All
Woo!
right. So we'll save the reveal on that for when the rest of the party sees you, but I will be keeping that result in mind. Raccoon, needless to say, you and Lucian both are very pleased with the outcome.
I'm
Uh,
excited.
I am very, very pleased with this, Lucian.
all right. So, Zephyr, down to your civvies. Gil, cleaned up. And Lucian, made up. Is there any final things you guys would like to do before the summer ball festivities begin in earnest?
Well, I have a few things I do want to do, but it'll be later on this evening.
So, yeah. Like I said, this is just like, what do you want to do before you guys gather back up for the party?
Hmm.
I'm good.
Well, I would like to go maybe see if there's anyone in the tavern about gambling.
Yeah, needless to say, as you like come down from cleaning yourself up, the tavern is almost completely deserted. Lorcan just making sure to clean up the bar itself. It is needless. Yeah, like everyone who has secured a ticket has already like made arrangements, and like those who couldn't secure a ticket just aren't present since there's not going to be a lot of company. So, um,
Well,
uh,
I'm mostly just looking for my orc friend.
mm,
I'm wanting to
uh,
check up on him since I know he got quite a beating.
Is
um,
Lorcan going?
uh, You can ask him once the party meets back up if you like.
Eh.
But he hasn't mentioned anything about it to you. Okay, so keep that in mind for whenever you guys regroup. And you can make a perception, or actually, this would be investigation. You can make an investigation check if you want, Gil. But yeah, at a glance, you don't really see anyone in the tavern, let alone your orc friend.
Okay, hang on. I forgot to switch character sheets.
Yeah, it's all good.
Rip.
Totally get it. For those watching at home, we literally like 10 minutes ago went from one session to this one. So, gotta clear our filters and get ready for different characters. So while he's doing that, Zephyr, you're the only one who hasn't said for sure. So just to be sure, is there anything else at all you want to do before the party?
I think what I could use. No, I mean he'll just make sure he's all gassied up enough to be presentable, and then.
All right, easy enough to do. Okay, Gil, how'd you do on your investigation roll?
The page is
It's
still loading
almost
for
loaded.
you.
All right. Yeah. Well, here. So go ahead and just get ready to roll. In the meantime, if this is the last thing you want to do before the party, the day passes with minimal incident. The city is in there's a very tense atmosphere as
It was a 19, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. Looking around, you don't find anything that would imply he's hurt, and you did see clerics on the scene after the tournament, but you don't see him anywhere. So either he's attending the ball and getting ready, or he's just out on the town, and you don't know where he is.
Okay.
So is that the last thing you'd like to do?
For now.
Okay. The day passes. Lucian and Raccoon, as you two are gussing yourselves up and getting ready, you hear a very light knock on your very elaborate wooden bedroom door, Lucian.
I will get up and I will answer the door.
As you open the door, you see a very gussied up Summer Tabedra. Her long, bushy red hair is tied back with a pure black ribbon, but you can see some the Tibadran crest in yellow stitching on the ends of the ribbon. Her face is made up very lightly, not nearly as elaborately as yours. So it accentuates her beauty, but the makeup itself is just kind of like understated. And dressed in a very loose and practical emerald green dress with an orange sash bearing the Tibadran crest stretched over her torso. And she kind of smiles and places one hand on her hip and looks you up and down, and speaking in her regular tone, since it's just the three of you at the moment. Not bad.
I give a smile. You look beautiful.
She kind of gives a slightly bashful smile and brushes some of her hair out of her face, and you can see she's wearing almost it's less a clean bracelet and more what appear to be gemstones kind of loosely strung together over her wrist. It does look good, but it's clearly homemade and like just meant to show off the gems rather than there be any actual structure or symbology to it. And she gives you a smile. You do as well. Father sent me to pick you, and she kind of leans in to give a smile to Raccoon. Your friend up, and Father and the others are heading to get the rest of your friends.
That won't be necessary. Like I said before, I do have my own ticket.
Oh,
I
Father
think,
told us. I'm here just because I want to be.
Mm.
Um, okay. Do you want to come in?
She gives a kind of smile and a light bow. That'd be good. And she kind of slides in, and like in her movements, you can still see that kind of innately like sneaky, like almost as if she's reflexively staying in your periphery. Although whether that's like out of any shyness regarding her much more gussied up than normal appearance, or just the inherent second nature of someone raised by bandits is unclear. But she slides into the room with a polite smile as you shut the door. So, what kind of trouble are you two planning to get into in there?
I heard there were lots of fancy snacks.
This is something that I would probably do anyways. Um, so maybe just talk to some people that I know. Um, like I heard the queen was here, so I'll probably go say hello to her.
Yeah, she showed up a few days ago.
Yeah.
Lucian, which
My
queen?
brother, the Queen of Wicked.
Wicked has a queen?
Yeah.
Oh.
I've done some work for her before, so it's not like we're not unfamiliar. My brother is also going to be here, which is a little weird for me.
Well, my brothers are going to be here as well, if that makes you feel any better.
uh, Lucian kind of gives an awkward chuckle.
And she kind of gives a nod. She seems to kind of acknowledge the awkwardness, but doesn't really have anything she can offer you. And she kind of turns to you, Raccoon, and be kind of careful with how much of the food you eat. Father said that we should probably stay away from it. Didn't say why, but you know how he likes his secrets, and you can see she kind of scowls a little bit and kind of tugs on her wrist bracelet of gems awkwardly.
Insight to
Is
see.
there
Insight.
Go ahead.
Insight.
Go for it.
15.
Lucian.
You can go first. I'll
What was
give. It was 15, and you go ahead, Lucian, and then I'll give
Okay.
the answer to Raccoon.
Lucian will look at Summer. Is there anything particular we should keep an eye out for?
She kind of gives a bit of a helpless shrug. Not a whole lot I can tell you. Father just said to stay away from the food and be careful who we talk to. Although that last one is just kind of universal for people like us. You can imagine not everyone's happy to have us here. And Raccoon, as you kind of watch her expression closely, she does seem genuine in the advice she's giving you, and equally genuine that she has no idea why. So as far as you can tell from her expressions, it seems like she means what she says. That her father said for the Tibadran children to stay away from whatever was being offered at the party and be careful who they trust, but did not tell them the details of why.
That's really suspect.
Well, Bandit King. Hopefully once
He wouldn't know if anybody poisoned anything either unless he actually sat there and watched people cooking it.
She gives a kind of a nod. Well, once I take over, maybe I can change things up to be a bit more honest in our banditry. But for now, we have to deal with Father and his secrets. And she kind of starts tugging on the bracelet, almost as if it's a bit uncomfortable. But it seems like she's just giving her hands something to do.
Lucian, I'm going to sit down on the bed, and look up at Summer. Are you nervous about the party?
Not particularly. I've been trained all my life to take over my father's position one day, so it's something that I've at least read enough about in books to know what to say, to whom, and how I say it.
I'll give a little bit of a smirk. You are very smart.
She kind of gives a seemingly genuine smile, but it kind of de-escalates into a slight smirk. I know, and hopefully I won't offend any upstanding noble gentlemen with that.
I can probably think of a few that would be a little offended, but
Speaking of which, is Gil going?
oh yes, he is still under your family's name that I know of.
She gives kind of a smile. That should be interesting. Try to keep him out of trouble if you can. Father says that he's been making a bit of a ruckus.
Yeah, he does that. I don't really I don't really know if anybody can, you know, how do you say, keep him out of trouble.
I think I can think of a few people at this party that could pull the strings for it if they felt like it. That's kind of what I'm worried about, actually. It's one thing to beat the hell out of a random soldier. It's a completely different one to deal with a noble who's trained all their life for combat.
I nod my head. I am not one of them. I didn't have much training, but you know, I I look a little thoughtful for a minute, trying to think back. I could probably, you know, think of a few people that would gladly put him in his place. But I don't think he's gonna go as Gil.
She gives kind of a shrug. That's probably for the best. And don't sweat it about not being trained for traditional combat. Not all power is in brute muscle. And she pulls one of the shoulder straps of her dress back a bit, and you can see hidden under the strap and kind of tied to it with silk that blends into the fabric so you didn't notice it, is a very small, easily broken vial of some sort of powder, which she kind of smirks and lets fall back against her skin.
Oh, I know. And then I kind of pull my dress up a little bit to show her my focus.
She kind of tilts her head to look down at it and gives you a smirk. Scandalous.
I wink at her.
Oh, was I supposed to hide the weapon?
No.
I wouldn't recommend it. Nobody's going to be stupid enough to start a fight at this party. At least not the kind of fight you'll need weapons for. Just stay out of trouble and take care of yourself, and don't eat the food if you can avoid it.
I wanted to eat the food.
You can eat it if you want. Just Father doesn't recommend it for whatever his word is worth to you.
I am a smart raccoon.
Oh yes, I don't think I introduced you to. This is our friend Raccoon. Raccoon, this is Summer the Daedra.
Summer smiles and holds out a hand.
Hello.
Father told me about you.
I take the hand and shake it, but like reaching up because I'm very short.
Yeah, and she kind of like slouches a little bit to make it a bit easier on you. And kind of brushing her hair back a bit. Well, if you guys have everything you need, we should probably get going. Father's probably already at Nortwick with my brothers.
All right, Raccoon, are you ready to go?
Yes.
All right, lead the way, Summer.
I don't understand how you get used to walking in this, and she kind of like messes with the skirt of her dress, and is like, it's very uncomfortable.
You get used to it. But if you're willing to delay a few minutes, I might be able to help with that. And she kind of Lucian, you recognize the smirk she's giving Raccoon of like, oh, like I can't wait to test something on you.
That is up to you, Raccoon.
I don't know. Is she dangerous?
No, she's very nice, and she means well.
I'm curious.
All right, Father can wait for just a few minutes. Follow me. And if you two follow.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
She leads the two of you upstairs and pulls out a orange and yellow set of keys, which she uses to open one of the various doors. And inside you just find a room. It's very similar in its makeup to the room you guys are staying in, but you notice it is a lot bigger. And rather than the kind of drab, almost stone-like material covered in various rugs and curtains, you see this lavish tile and mortar setup. That's each room is actually 2 stories in and of itself, with a very elaborate staircase leading up to a second floor. And you can see beds, presumably occupied by the Tabadran family, scattered in various comfortable looking areas around the room. And she leads you to one that's built almost directly underneath the second floor like bottom, and opens up a wardrobe, and you see just essentially a tiny version of her chemistry lab from Rosewick condensed into this wardrobe, with vials and chemicals adorning the inside of the walls. And she kind of clicks her tongue a bit as she traces her finger along the right side before smiling and pulling free a vial of a kind of greenish blue liquid, and which she kind of bites the finger of one of her emerald green gloves and pulls on it to free her hand, and does the same with the other, and kind of just tossing her gloves to the floor, seeming more interested in the science now, starts to pour the liquid onto her hands and rub them together to form a lotion-like texture. Now, I'm gonna have to get a little bit handsy with you, but purely professional, I promise.
Raccoon goes wide-eyed.
She just kind of gives a smile. So, where are you uncomfortable exactly?
It's just weird wearing a skirt. I wasn't thinking anything like that.
Relax. And do you allow her to apply this lotion to you?
Insight?
Go for it.
I'm not the big trusty trust right now.
Understandable. The party full of nobility, probably a good idea not to be trusting. I feel like there's going to be a lot of insight checks tonight.
Yeah. It's an 18 without modifier.
She seems genuinely honest. Like, whatever she's offering you will just help with your discomfort regarding your clothing.
All right, sure, but very warily. I watch the entire time, just staring.
Right. Lucian, you watch as Summer delicately and with permission, basically loosens Raccoon's clothing enough to fit her hands beneath the skirt. And Raccoon, it's obviously very uncomfortable as Summer's lotion-covered hands trace. Yeah, trace.
Very awkward.
Yeah.
No.
Trace along just the lower half of your torso. But as she pulls her hands back and kind of looks you up and down before nodding and reapplying your various buttons and laces, you don't feel the skirt brazing against your skin. And as you kind of give an experimental wiggle, you can feel it brushing against you, but it's a very cool, soothing feeling, almost like water.
That was very awkward. Next time I will just deal with it, but it works.
You just shouldn't touch it without taking the proper precautions. And she kind of heads towards what you can see to be a bathroom similar to the ones you guys have. All right, I'm going to get cleaned up. You guys meet up outside. Don't touch any of my stuff.
All right.
Okay. As we go, I'll pick up her gloves that she dropped and just kindly put them somewhere where she can easily get them.
Okay, easy enough to do. And yeah, Raccoon, as you walk, it's almost like a soothing sensation. Like, you feel like your lower half is just going through very cool, pleasantly cool water, rather than the kind of stiff abrasiveness that you were feeling before.
It's weird.
How do you feel with that on?
I mean, it's comfortable now, but weird.
Summoner is very smart with those kind of things.
Definitely seems like it.
After a few minutes, Summer reemerges from the room with gloves readorned and looks down to you, Raccoon, with a smile. Feeling okay?
Yes, thank you.
She smiles. Happy to help. And shuts the door behind her and locks it. All right, let's see how much trouble my brothers are getting into.
Or rather, what trouble Gil can get himself into.
That too.
Gil does seem to get into a lot of trouble, doesn't he?
He's just that type, you know?
Raccoon doesn't even know him that well yet.
Yeah, but already he just.
Yeah, you've made quite the impression, to be fair.
Okay, and then I will follow. I'll follow Summer.
All right. Meanwhile, Zephyr, as you and Gil sit at your usual table, just waiting for either the festivities to be ready to start or your group to regather, the door to Nortwick's swings open very abruptly with no care or courtesy. As Zephyr, you see your adoptive father limp in with his usual impish smile. You can see he's adorned in a very ill-fitting suit that kind of loosely hangs off of him in the Tabadran crest colors. And behind him, you see your brothers, Caleb and Loop, adorned in just typical suits similar to your own, although their bow ties are the Tabadran colors. And they both give you a polite nod, seeming organized and instructed by your father as he looks between the two of you. I'm guessing the others are at the guest house.
Yes.
Well, hopefully they'll join us shortly. I'd rather not dilly-dally. So, and he, without any regard, takes the seat that is normally occupied by Lucian when you guys sit here and crosses his legs casually. Are we all clear on the cover story?
Servants?
Servants. If you decide to bail on me, I'm throwing you under the bus. Metaphorically and literally, if I must.
Of course.
He smiles and leans forward, placing both small little hands on the table. And Zephyr, my boy, find anything interesting since we last talked?
Since we last talked, nothing that would interest you.
I suppose that's fair enough, but be sure not to filter too much. I'd rather get information that's boring and useless than not get information that might be pertinent to me. But this will be all of your big chances to collect what you owe me. I can't say for sure how many of them exactly, but all of our enemies are going to be gathered here. So, best make the most of that. Be careful who you talk to, be careful who you trust, and keep me out of whatever trouble you happen to get into. But be sure to tell me about it afterwards.
Oh, don't worry. I'm counting on them all being there.
He kind of raises an eyebrow to you, but just kind of smirks and doesn't say anything. After about an hour passes, Zephyr, you just making small talk with your siblings, and
So there is something I want to do during this time.
okay.
I want to go back up to my room. I have a few other items I want to retrieve before
Okay.
going to the party.
Retrieve away.
So once I get up to my room, am I followed?
Make a perception check.
That's an 18.
You see Zephyr's siblings watching you as you go, and kind of not like overtly, but just kind of moving subtly to keep you in their vision as long as possible. But once you cross the threshold upstairs, they do not appear to follow you.
Okay, just know the king, you know.
Hmm.
But I want to go into my room, and I want to carefully place a couple of my daggers on me.
Okay, I'll say make a general sleight of hand check to see how well you hide them.
That is a dirty 20.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. So, since you didn't specify, but I don't want to knock you too hard for just innocently forgetting, do you switch over to your fancy garb?
Yes.
Okay.
And then after I do so, I want to look outside my room. Do I see anyone in the hallway?
Make a perception check.
That is a 17.
Okay. Carefully poking your head out and looking around. You do not see anyone in the hallway. However, out the window across the hall, as you start exiting with your fancy garb and hidden daggers, as you approach the landing to go back down to the first floor, just kind of glancing out the second floor window, across the way at the building directly next to Nortwick's. So fairly close, but still like essentially an alleyway's distance. You see Lucifer donned in the armor that you've come to associate with him, but with the hood pulled back and the helmet removed. Just hands crossed behind his back and tilting his head with a smile as he watches you.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to go over towards the window and I'm going to wave. What does he do?
He gives you a smile and a wave back, and vanishes with that almost flash paper like way he does it that you saw before.
Okay, I then want to go to Zephyr's room.
All right.
God, what is wrong with you?
A lot.
I mean, it'll be his funeral.
This is why you keep getting into trouble.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
is what
hey,
left
you know,
me.
it's his funeral, so let him do his thing.
Okay.
Oh, well, guess I'm gonna have to start doing some goblin funeral rites.
Okay. So, Zephyr, I assume you lock your room, right?
Yes.
Okay. Gil, do you want to retrieve your thieves' tools and make a thieves' tools check?
Yep.
These tools.
Well, I use a dagger.
Right, yeah. So
I
do you
was
want
like-
to choose one of your? Sorry, I was instinctively thinking of like your rogue. All right. As usual, make me a dexterity check at disadvantage. Uh, um, while that's happening, just basically roll, but keep your result in mind. Zephyr, you and your family just kind of making chatter downstairs. The door opens, but you don't initially see anyone. However, coming into visibility, you see Lucifer, his hood pulled back up, but just carrying his helmet under one arm, and you can feel the atmosphere in the room kind of tensen as he kind of looks over your family, and he kind of passes by Caleb and runs a hand through his hair and ruffles it a bit before looking to you, Zephyr. Are you ready for the party?
Well, ready as I'll ever be.
He gives a nod. You should probably make sure you have everything.
And why is that?
Well, you don't want to go up to your room and find that there are things not there that you thought were there, you know?
Classic Lucifer. Lucian sitting here having war memories.
Lucifer,
Yes, Zephyr.
as someone who knows of your special little eye,
He smiles and you can see the eye flick upstairs.
would it be? I would ask. Since you're telling me this, I'm guessing there's a reason why. So,
Probably.
would you mind sharing with me?
He kind of tilts his head to the side and kind of does that squint of like thinking, and you can see your family is kind of like looking nervously between the two of you, and you can see this is the first time you've ever seen your father like genuinely kind of off put and intimidated, and you can see him kind of keeping a tight iron grip on the handle of his cane, as Lucifer gives a shrug. I don't know, I just thought I would tell you.
Tell me what?
Tell you that you want to make sure you have everything and that there's nothing missing from your room. Do you know where my sister is?
Do I know? Has she told us that about her guest room?
Yeah, she mentioned that. I believe she mentioned that she's and your father mentioned that, like, oh, are they at the guest house? And Gil said yes.
Last time I checked, she was at the guest house.
He gives a slow nod. Okay, I thought maybe that she was still staying here for a little bit longer, so I came to see her, but then I saw very interesting things in the window and I got curious.
Well,
Fucker.
yeah, I mean, well, yeah, she is not here, but I guess you're right. I should probably make sure. I should probably make sure I have everything. You know, just to make sure.
Okay, I'm going to wait here if that's okay. Your family is very interesting, Zephyr. And he kind of pulls Loop and Caleb in by the arms. And you can see both of them are kind of glancing nervously to your father, who's just kind of like doing that slow shake of the head, like just roll with it.
Do I notice this?
Oh yeah, no, you know your family's like facial movements well. Like they're off put. They don't seem to know who he is, but just the casual demeanor you're interacting with him and the just kind of air he gives off is definitely kind of unsettling them.
Well, I hope you enjoy their company.
You can see both of your brothers like in just like giving you that look of like, come on, help us out.
Oh, well, I guess seeing this, and I'll try to be a good brother and be like, well, also, I believe the little goblin boy or girl
Girl.
is
It doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. The little goblin thing is also with Lucian. I believe they're getting ready for the ball or something.
Oh, you mean is with them?
Yes, you pronounced it right.
He is
Only when
nothing if
you're-
not an elf of learning.
Only when you're not around, he pronounces it right.
He just practices it at night.
You're more right than you think.
Oh, I know my brother.
Yes, I believe whatever it is you said.
And you can see his eyes slowly rove over your relatives before smiling. Okay. Will I see you at the party, Zephyr?
I believe so. Well,
Okay, well I will see you later then. I'm going to go find my sister and
you have a good time. I'm going to check out some.
okay, have fun. And he, with little ceremony, uses his grip on your brother's arms to pull himself out of his chair, and just like all practically skipping out the door. And as soon as he's gone, you can hear Lorcan let out like a deep sigh, and your father's eyes immediately dart to you. I'm expecting an explanation on the way to the party, Zephyr.
I mean, an explanation on what?
You can see his eyes kind of glance out the door where Lucifer had just gone.
I mean, I suppose I can tell you about him, but first,
Of course, go ahead.
have some business. I'm gonna go upstairs.
All right. Rewinding a bit.
So I will say, I was going to say, since I couldn't get the door open with my
What'd you roll? You never.
pitiful,
Oh yeah. So yeah,
It
you're
was-
gonna.
yeah, it was bad.
Okay. All right.
I'm
So yeah,
just
like
going to, because I'm guessing he probably replaced the lock after last time. And so I'm like,
Replaced the
okay, I'll
lock.
just try again. I'll try again another time, and come downstairs.
okay.
I just got to get
So
some more practice with locks later.
all right. You spend several minutes like trying to crack the lock, but anytime you start making progress, you risk breaking this knife too, and you don't want to run through all of your improvised lock picks. So, calling in the effort before you shatter another knife, you return them to your hiding places. And Zephyr, as you start heading upstairs, Gil turns the corner of the landing, and you two kind of almost run into each other at the top of the stairs.
Oh, did you forget something?
I'm not sure.
Oh, by the way, I saw Lucifer in the window earlier. He really should learn his manners and not be peeping Tom.
Well, that's probably hard for him, but
Ah, you're right. Probably is hard. Pretty sure he was looking for Lucian.
yeah, I believe so. He we had a nice chat.
Oh, he came in and he didn't come and say hi? Eesh.
Wow.
Just missed him too, didn't I?
Mm-hmm. I mean, out of curiosity, do you hmm.
Well, if you're wondering what I was doing, I just went to go get some of my knives, and I need to change outfits.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a few things I wonder.
And like, I'll point out my knives to him as proof.
He doesn't really pay attention to the knives because he isn't like lost in thought of what to say to you.
Eh, Gil's just gonna, and head on downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Zephyr, you want to do anything?
You know what? Yes. Before he kind of goes completely downstairs, I would like to tap his shoulder. Well, tap wherever I can kind of. I guess tap him. I don't think I can.
Well,
reach
he's
his
going
shoulder.
downstairs. You can reach his shoulder.
Well, just I can make sure I get his attention before.
Yeah. So the point is, you get his attention.
There is one thing I would like to tell you, or more, well, inform you.
Yes.
Well, I don't have proof, nor do I feel like I need any proof, to be honest. But if you think about if you do plan on trying to steal my money or steal something from me, just know you would probably regret it.
Why would I steal from you? I can get my own money.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In what way would you get your own money?
Hard work and labor.
By stealing.
Like,
Come on, ceiling.
Really? All right.
I'm not a thief.
If I remember correctly, that's not true. But
Okay, I tried to steal the dice, okay? But anyone would have done.
Just dice, nothing else. Certainly not anything from your bag.
tried to steal random dice, which
And you did try to steal from me, so.
did I try to steal from him? Oh,
Yes,
You did.
oh yeah, I didn't know it was him.
So,
Well, if I remember correctly, at the
You're not
time
so
you were
innocent yourself,
disguised.
buddy.
Well, again. First off, if you would let me talk,
Oh,
I believe you were in disguise, right? So, out of all the, I believe you were a guard that you're disguised as. I somehow stole from you, and
Yeah.
but again, it's more of just a fair warning. Try to steal from me, and you will regret it.
Yeah, warning taken, but not necessary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
none of us believe you, Gil.
It's like no, no.
Yeah,
Well, half of you aren't there.
Exception checks from across the city.
What?
Yeah.
What did you say, Gil?
Raccoon just
I
suddenly
was gonna say-
pauses and is like, I sense a disturbance.
All right. So
Sense a
Zephyr.
disturbance in the force.
So Zephyr, is there anything you'd like to do, or are you gonna head downstairs as well?
Yes, there is.
All right. What you gonna do?
So I'm going to, because for reasons, I'm going to go into my room. First, check everything, because, I don't know
Okay.
how long he's been.
Okay. Make me an investigation check.
That will be investigation. It's a 15.
Okay. Checking your. So you're just gonna check your whole room.
Uh, mm, at least check my stuff.
So just your stuff.
I mean, yeah, I don't really care for what's in the room because just whatever it's like in my possession. So.
Okay. Yeah. Looking through your belongings, other than what you've already previously noticed to have been surreptitiously missing, everything since you last checked still appears to be in its place.
Mm-hmm. Also, just to make sure, did you get my message earlier?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. Yeah, and all right. I'm going to close my door. Walk with me inside. Is there a chair inside? Or well, is there something like moderately heavy?
Actually, there is a chair next to a very small, just kind of personal, kind of cozy for reading and studying. So there is a chair in here.
Yeah. Could I use that chair to barricade the door?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, first, I'm going to lock the door, and then
Okay,
I'm
easy enough to
going
do.
to barricade the door.
All right.
And I mean, I'm all pretty much ready. I think I need a dagger.
Okay.
If I hopefully there's no fight, because if not, I'm useless.
Yeah, no weapons and no armor. You're committing to the disguise. I respect that.
Oh yeah, no
Um,
armor. I forgot about that. But
okay.
so being that my door is barricaded and all that, I'm going to try to open up my window.
Easy enough to do. You're in the room, so.
Well, yeah. Well, I meant like, well, I meant I'm gonna try to climb out my window. And I guess see if I can shut the window doors. Not to have it all flapping out. Like,
Okay. Uh, make me an athletics or acrobatics check, your choice.
Oh my goodness, this is gonna be hilarious. Be false.
Okay. It'll be worth it.
Fall, 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 fall.
Oof. Luckily, I have that. I got an 8.
Okay. You managed to like find your balance on the windowsill, but it's very narrow. Nobody was really intended to sit on the windowsills or anything. So you don't plummet, but you do realize that you're gonna have to either commit to closing it or commit to jumping. You're not gonna be able to do both.
I don't want to get the suit dirty, so I guess I will jump.
All right. Make me another athletics or acrobatics check, your choice.
Yeah, choose a different dice.
And at your
Wow.
current level as a rogue, do you have second story work?
Yeah, I have second story work. You
Okay.
got like level 2, I think.
Okay. Just want to make sure. I will. So you will get advantage on this.
Okay, good, because I rolled a 2. The second 2.
Yeah. No.
Right.
And for the record, that was prior planned. Like I was like, oh, if he has second story work, I'll give him advantage
Right.
because it's not a particularly long fall. So.
Alright, well, I rolled a 4, but my modifier, there'll be a 10.
Okay. You jump, leaving the window open behind you. Land, and you kind of do that like sort of tuck and roll landing, but manage to stand up before you do like a full on roll, and you kind of stumble a bit. Unfortunately, the shins and knees of your suit are kind of not like insanely so, but kind of dirtied up. But you managed to avoid any outright damage to the fabric.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess, is it possible to maybe, like, get as much off as possible to make it not, like...
Yeah, you can give yourself a. It's not going to get all of it off. There's still some kind of just like like this material stains easily, so you can already see some like kind of brown and like kind of ruddy green colored stains. Very minor against the black fabric, but like basically if you look closely enough, it is there. But you're able to get like the bulk of it off at least.
Okay, well... I guess I will go around and enter through the front door.
All right. So, Gil, as you head downstairs and join Zephyr's family, the door opens and Zephyr enters, still adorned in his fancy suit. And you can see, Zephyr, you can see your youngest sibling, Caleb, kind of look visibly confused and like look upstairs and back at you. But Loop just kind of puts a hand on his shoulder and shakes his head. So, is everyone ready to go?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get moving. Hopefully, we'll meet your friends halfway. And he kind of hops out of the chair and starts making his way, making his hobbly little way. And he kind of
Making my
pulls,
way downtown.
walking slow, have a cane, and I'm an old man. Uh, um, and he kind of pulls you to the front, Zephyr. Now, about that explanation.
About the elven person.
He gives a slow nod. And I'll say for the record, you can explain it in character if you want, but I will also accept just like I tell him everything I know.
Yeah, no. I'll explain, what...
Okay.
I mean, there's frankly not much to say. It, it his name, I believe, from what I've gathered, is his real name is Lucifer.
Going by a pseudonym, is he?
Well, I believe. Well, was I there when he changed his ticket name?
No.
You were not.
Yeah, you were inside. He did mention that he was using Lucian's name at one point, but you left before he changed the name fully.
Okay. Well, I guess yeah. Hmm, from what I remember, from what I know, he's going by actually Lucian's name. Yeah, Lucian.
Bold.
And well, I guess that with the whole going with Lucian's, he is Lucian's believed twin brother.
He kind of smirks slightly. That is interesting and potentially useful. Good job.
Oh, and he seems to have some connection with the doctor I've talked to you about.
Watson, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
And be careful with this before his eye.
Well, something interesting about it, a discerning one perhaps, and you can see his own eyes twinkling.
One of his eyes seems to be sort of a enhanced eye because some family drama as I don't care to look into. Um, yes, he was replaced for a prosthetic, almost like I would almost say an enhanced eye, which can see through, from what I understand, just about anything.
That is interesting and dangerous. Watch what you keep in your pockets. What I wouldn't give for something like that.
Man, man, a good
Gil.
taste.
I know. I was just thinking that.
You really should have been a rogue this campaign, man, with your like obsession with stealing
Yeah,
things.
stealing and trying to get stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, he gives you a slow nod, kind of. You can see him putting a puzzle together in his mind. Anything else I should know about him?
Um, I know that he can like sort of raise the dead.
Yes, yes. Like Lucian has
I
mentioned
think,
that.
yeah, Lucian mentioned that he has magic, but I don't think she.
Well,
mentioned
she
his
did
nature
mention
of
that
it.
she was at least suspicious that it was him raising the dead in Perha.
Right. Well, she may have mentioned that he was interested in necromancy, but
I
she
do
was
remember
also,
that.
yeah, she was. She also has slightly mentioned that she was suspicious of his having to do with raising the dead.
So yes, one way or another.
Um, hmm. Uh, well, I don't have a lot that I can just that I believe is true or not. Just more of suspicion on him.
Well, you know what I always say: for every story, there's a grain of truth to it.
You are probably correct. But from what I gather, he is, to me at least, no one of interest.
I think you're wrong on that, son. I think you're very wrong on that. You don't have to do it yourself. I feel like something of this caliber would be of more interest to one of your brothers, but do keep an eye on him for me if you can. Keep me posted on any notable activity he gets up to, him and this doctor both.
I will see what I can do.
He gives you a nod. At this moment, you guys are about halfway to the palace, and Zephyr, you and Gil both hear from down the road. Zephyr, I'm back.
Oh.
You see, still with his helmet under his arm, but his hood pulled up, Lucifer kind of skip merrily up to your group, and you can feel your family kind of instinctively pull back a bit as he looks between the two of you. Did I miss anything interesting?
Not at all. Nice to see you again, Lucifer.
He gives a
And
smile.
Gil will pull him in for a little bear hug.
Uh,
Trying
he
to throw him off.
he accepts the bear hug and embraces you, but you can see the eye locked firmly onto your face and not relenting.
Yeah, Gil's gonna laugh and just give him that smile, like the one that just says, "I know what you did."
You know what you did? I mean,
He tilts his head to the side, returning the smile, which is it's the same expression he always has, so it's a bit difficult to read at a glance, but he just smiles back at you, and his eye swirls back around to look out the back of his head, and he turns to you, Zephyr. I was going to find my sister, like I said, but then I found that they were already on the way, and I can't wait to see how Gil reacts to seeing her.
What?
He starts to like very, very unsettlingly, like in that almost like praying mantis posture, approach you, Gil, with a very increasing smile. I saw what her outfit looks like. It's barely an outfit at all. It hugs her figure so much, and you see everything.
Oh my God, Lucifer! That's your
Gil is
sister.
going to.
Oh, it's very much like.
Yeah, Gil is going to just look up at the sky and say, "I have no idea what you're talking about."
I'm sure you don't, you pervert.
You mean he doesn't know what you're talking about? He's just telling you that what his outfit looked like.
Um, Summer, guiding Raccoon and Lucian. The three of you round the corner, and Lucian, you observe it first, but Raccoon not far behind. Up down the street, you see Zephyr. The Debadron Royals, notably sans the Queen, Gil, and Lucifer, currently behind Gil and saying something in his ear that you can't hear at this distance.
Do I notice his stature, like if he's being like.
You know this posture of his well. He is causing trouble because he can, and he's enjoying it.
Yeah.
I just kind of shake my head and try to ignore it as we continue to walk on.
Gil,
Do I
you
see
feel.
her yet?
Well, you said you're looking at the sky, right?
You look at the
Yeah.
entire time.
But I'm also in that not like in that discreet way, like it's
Trying
a
to
total
look
truth.
down. It's so true. Huh? Just one
Uh,
look.
As you kind of take glances, you do see the three starting to approach, and you hear Lucifer whispering in your ear, "Be sure to make eye contact. I'll be the first to notice if you don't."
Repeat that.
I like him. I like him already.
You feel both of his hands lay across your shoulders. "I said, be sure to make eye contact. It's polite when you're speaking to people, but especially women."
Thanks.
Oh my God.
When I need dating advice from a rat, I'll be sure to ask you.
"Oh, that's very mean. You didn't have to say that to me."
Oh, don't worry.
Considering dating,
You're
eh?
a good one. You should see the rat's back at home. It's a compliment.
You feel his grip on your shoulders kind of tighten for like a fraction of a second before he relents, and the groups reconvene. Summer gives a greeting to the Tebadron family and smiles to you, Zephyr. "Hey, Zephy."
Hello, sis.
"You and Gil get into any trouble?"
Nope.
Knowing Gil, yes, and I turn to the.
Then good.
I ignore him. I
No.
turn to the Tebadrons and give them a little curtsy. Good to
Uh,
see you.
The Tebadrons return the curtsy, and Summer turns to Lucifer. "And who's this?" Lucifer gives you a smirk, Lucian.
She okay. For Lucifer, it would be very very obvious about like how she's almost struggling to not want to say something, but she looks at Summer. "This is my brother that I told you about."
Lucifer holds out his unscarred hand, although Lucian looking, you can see he's wearing a sort of thin, not overly extravagant gauntlet over the scarred hand as he holds his unarmored hand and offers it to Summer. "I am Emil Winterborn. It's a pleasure." Summer tilts her head to the side and smiles and accepts the hand. "Summer Tebadra, a pleasure."
Summer and winter.
And Gil, his face doesn't move, but you instinctually know Lucifer is watching you closely through the back of his own head via his prosthetic eye.
But I am looking at both of the girls' outfits. Just like not really staring, but just looking.
Uh,
Goggles.
as you look over Summer, her gussying up is humble but respectable, and the effort does nothing to detract from her beauty. Then your gaze falls on Lucien.
Ooh.
Lucien's dress and makeup and everything done to accentuate her appearance without appearing gaudy or like too much effort was put into it. She looks akin to a goddess descended onto this mortal plane, and you can feel your jaw almost instinctively want to hit the floor as her gaze just falls on you, with that casual friendly air, no different than how she normally looks at you, but everything that has been done to her appearance like makes her every action feel very intimate.
He's going to gulp and stand up a bit straighter.
Lucifer kisses Summer's hand and then immediately swivels on his heel to watch you as Lucien joins the group.
You're looking well, brother.
Thank you. It's been a long time since I've been able to wear this armor in front of people. And he kind of adjusts the helmet under his arm. I'm afraid all of this, and he gestures to his face, won't be public information, so consider it a bit of a treat from me.
You're so kind.
I do my best, sister.
I kind of shift my gaze over to Gil. Are you not going to say hello?
Yes, hello. Your brother made an appearance earlier.
Remember, eye contact, Gil.
Is something the matter, Gil?
Oh.
Cat, cut your tongue.
He's just gonna be very quiet and try not to blush too hard.
I'm
his
going to look
sister's
from
right.
Gil to Summer because she doesn't think that he's, it's her that he's stumbling over. She's just like,
Raccoon at this point looks between them for a moment, very confused, and then she goes, "Oh."
You feel Lucifer lean back over your shoulder, almost lounging like a cat, as he whispers in one of your ears, "Remember, eye contact. Don't think about how much that dress hugs her form or how good the makeup makes her look. I said don't think about it."
immediately
Thanks
starts
for the
thinking about
invite.
it.
Raccoon goes like, "Are you a mind reader?"
You see his eye swivel over to you as his head kind of catches up almost a second behind it. "I like to think so." And he points to the eye. "I can see a lot of things with this."
What am I thinking of?
No.
And she just like scrunches her entire face like she's thinking about something really hard.
"You're thinking about the snacks they'll be giving out at the party."
How did you know?
"Because, like I said, the eye can see a lot of things." A lot of
Into
things.
your
And he slowly
mind.
turns to look at you, Gil.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man. Payback.
Yeah. I hear you, buddy.
He smiles, and it's a very like odd thing, but he starts to skip almost backwards so that his gaze on you is not broken as he stands shoulder to shoulder with Lucien. Lucien, almost as if looking at you directly for the first time, as you had seen he had been fully focusing his mischief on Gil, but as he looks you up and down, he smiles. "You do look very good, sister. You clean up very nicely."
Thank you. I looked in the mirror and I almost thought it was Mother. It was kind of weird.
Did she describe what her dress is?
So I have this long emerald green dress that has long sleeves tied to the middle of the fingers. The dress is litted up to about mid thigh. The dress is sparkly and it has a sweetheart neckline to it.
Should I say what Raccoon's looks like?
Yes,
Go for it.
please do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's obviously like what used to be children's clothes, just like tailored towards her.
Mm-hmm.
But she's wearing a not bright red, but kind of like a nice red damn it, what do they call it? A seraphim with gold trim and a green vest with a pattern a dark red pattern belt with little golden triangles on it, and on her head is a red and gold kokoshnik, not seraphim, which is like the headdresses that go with it.
Mm-hmm.
So cute.
Very cute.
And Lucian, you see Lucifer kind of adjust his grip on the helmet, kind of look himself up and down before turning to you, and his mischievous expression kind of slides away into like a seemingly genuine like concern. Do you think I look okay? It's been a long time since I've worn this around people I wasn't already friends with.
I mean, I didn't think that the armor would be appropriate. I thought maybe you would want to.
Well, yeah, but I think maybe it makes me look cool, you know, like, oh, what a mysterious knight coming to the party is going to fight all the monsters.
I don't know, Lucifer. I mean, I don't think it would be appropriate. I think that you would look nicer in something like a tux or a nice shirt at least.
He kind of his eye stays trained on you, but he kind of looks to the floor and just kind of nods along. He doesn't seem like ashamed, more just like genuinely considering carefully. And finally, he kind of almost mutters, but like loud enough to where you at least can hear it. Yeah, maybe I should go home and change. I thought maybe it would make me look cool, but it's been a long time. Yes, I will go see if Dr. Watson has any extras he can give me. He has a lot of clothes.
I imagine he does. I mean, he's a doctor. He's probably sporty.
Well, yes, but he's also one of those people who's like, oh, I need like a different suit every day, you know?
That reminds me of somebody.
He gives kind of a smirk and opens his arms for a hug should you choose to return it.
It's like a little awkward, but yeah, she gives him a hug.
He pats you on the back and says, okay, you guys can go on ahead of me. I will go change, and then I will be at the party in like 2 minutes. I'm very fast. And he swivels his head around to look at you, Gil, with a smirk. Very fast.
Point taken. You soon, buddy.
He's got your number.
He gives a seemingly genuine smile and a tilt of the head before giving you a quick side hug, Lucian, and waves to you, Raccoon, and gives you a nod, Zephyr, before vanishing with the flash paper effect.
Show off.
Oh.
That was in character, by the way.
And Gil, as you kind of start calming yourself, you hear a voice whisper in your ear, eye contact.
Oh.
my god!
I want to just mutter under my breath, oh, you bastard.
I like him.
Of course you would like him.
I like that laugh.
That laugh haunts my dreams, okay?
It fills my dreams with joy.
All right. King Tebedra, looking somewhat unsettled, but gives you a nod, Lucian and Raccoon. All right, if we're done dealing with magical relatives, I suggest we get moving. The party will be starting soon.
Haven't you ever heard, Your Majesty, of being fashionably late?
He gives a nod. Yes, I have. And I find that in my line of work, being fashionably late is a good way to get your kneecaps busted in with a mace.
The king has a point. It is very
He really does.
unprofessional. It is very unprofessional not to come, on time.
Well, then I guess
Well,
we should
depends
be
on
on our
who
way.
you ask. But yeah, let's go.
All right.
And I guess while on the way, I would like to talk to Lucian.
Okay. Easy enough to do.
Okay.
Yes, I will sort of get close to her and be like, so, I am curious about your brother.
Well, he is a very interesting person. Or at least that's what he thinks.
Well, I believe you've talked about him being in the so-called arena where Gil and Raccoon. Did you happen to know what team he was on?
No, I don't think I asked. I didn't know that they were on teams before we went to the arena. I didn't team, but I can ask him later on tonight.
Well, I guess that's something to look forward to.
By the way, what did you find?
What do you mean?
I look down at him and raise my eyebrow. I think you know exactly what I mean.
Oh, are you talking about the so-called
Your little
reconnaissance?
trip. Yes, your little trip.
Not much that we don't already know. Some information on the Lucian, where he was found by the doctor.
Lucifer was found by the doctor?
Or something along those lines, where the doctor found him and treated him and stuff
Did
like that.
did you perhaps get the paper that you read?
No. Such a grabbing evidence like that would be noticeable and trying to keep on the low. So whenever
What else did you find anything else about him?
Not sure what to make of it, but I found a map with some what seemed to be black ink around certain places.
I think maybe later on this week I can get a map of yours, and if you can remember which places were blacked out, maybe we can try to figure out.
I will keep that in mind.
Well, at least it would be, it would be good to at least try to, was it like it was a map that was like colored out?
It was a map that seemed like some places were crossed out with black ink or circled, or just it was, to me it seemed like more of a mess than much, but who knows, it could be a lead of whatever it is we're searching for.
It could be something, and I think that you and I could probably work it out together, but not today. Today is we go to the bowl, and maybe later on this week we can look into getting a map and trying to figure it out.
Maybe.
You all make your way.
I was going to say that during this whole trip, Gil's walking behind them and is trying not to stare, but failing.
Fail.
All right. Easy enough to do, or rather easy enough to try. Make a wisdom saving throw. I'm kidding.
I'm actually about to do it.
Sure, make a wisdom saving throw.
Come on, now.
14.
You resist as much as you can, but you still end up sneaking, lingering glances every so often. All right, you guys start to cross the city of Mercurial, and you start to head towards the deeper parts of the city that you had just been kind of passing by. And as a naturally flowing river separates the hill that the palace is built on, you all are crossing a drawbridge that is separated from the river and from the rest of the city by a matching set of large stone walls. As you reach the first part of the drawbridge, you see a very young looking girl with blonde hair and a bright blue dress, carrying a very pink lace parasol over her head. But as you all approach, King Tebedro smiles and nods, and the girl smiles and nods back and stands up. And as she stands, her appearance shifts to reveal the Tebedran queen, wearing a very fine white, but with like a kind of slight pink tint to it, suit. Um, but still carrying the lace parasol over her head, and she smiles and tilts her head to all of you and gives a curtsy.
I will sign to her. You look.
She smiles and signs back, you as well. She joins your little posse as you start making your way through the inner parts of the city. As you look around, the buildings in this part of the city are a lot less. Raccoon, you've been here for a while, but you've never actually been to this part of the city, as it is under constant guard and separate. Most parts of the year, it's actually separated from the rest of the city with the drawbridge raised. You're only able to get in with the drawbridge lowered, or if you can somehow get across the river and the walls without being spotted. And all the buildings here look tougher and more extravagant. And you can see squadrons of Geogran soldiers and giant patrols constantly like crossing and making rounds. But nobody gives you guys any trouble as you start to approach the grand palace at the top of the hill. Especially in your fancy wear, the climb up the hill does start to get kind of tiring. But as the patrols start to thin, you can see other people and nobility going up the path as well, and the lights in the palace are all on, and like you could almost guess they're visible across the city as it's very late at night now. Is there any last business before you guys enter the palace?
Well, I was gonna say on the way up with the soldiers, did I see anyone that I may have recognized from home?
Make a history check.
I was actually going to ask the same thing if I could recognize anybody from my hometown.
Go for it. History check as well.
18.
Okay, 18 for you. And Lucian?
Like I need to. 'Cause my
I
family's
also
over here.
got an 18.
Okay. Gil, looking around at first, you actually don't see anyone you know super personally. However, as your gaze turns up to the palace ahead, you can see talking to the door guard and about to be let in, your father, currently dressed in a white tuxedo with a black undershirt, but still wearing his military cap and his medals adorning his right breast, and arms crossed respectively behind his back. And at his side, you see someone you have not seen in a very long time, your sister.
Oh boy.
Wearing a very humble set of what almost look to be overalls, but on closer inspection they appear to be just a very well made but still very humble looking pair of I forget the like proper term for them, but essentially
Slacks.
Huh?
Slacks.
Slacks, thank you. With a very fine blouse to pair with it, dressed in bright greens and whites, with her red, almost orange hair flowing freely, but you can see some parts of it kind of curled to keep it somewhat contained. And she looks around with her usual polite smile as she waits for your father to let them into the party. And Lucian, uh, you look around, and similarly, you don't recognize anyone immediately. However, as you look behind your little posse with the Debadrons, behind two groups of what appear to just be nobles, like nobody you recognize immediately, you see the Wicked Queen. Currently dressed in a beautiful, form-fitting purple dress that sparkles in the moonlight, with her blonde hair pulled back into a very severe bun with jewelry hanging from it, and her spectacles, the chain that connects them to her dress, bejeweled slightly to sparkle as well, as she looks over everyone with her very severe and stern expression.
I won't say anything quite yet, but I will make a note in my head when we get inside to say hi.
Okay. So, eventually, Gil's father and sister enter. The other groups ahead of you enter as well, and you guys approach the door guard. And Lucian, you feel the kind of business end of the king's cane kind of bat against your thigh, and as you look down to him, he kind of nods towards the guard as you guys start walking up. Whatever you're going to do it quickly.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Basically, like make it quick. Like if you're gonna go in without using their cover story.
Yeah. I will. I'll just kind of like politely, kind of separate myself from them. I'll look down to Raccoon. Would you like to come with me?
Where are you going?
Well, we're going to go in, away from the Tabadrons. That way that we don't get, confused.
Sure.
Okay. So Raccoon and I will kind of segue away from them.
Okay, easy enough to do. As you approach a giant in a very humble pair of blue, I forgot the word again, but the overall slacks, with a yellow and red uniform beneath it. And you can see what actually, rather than the club you've seen a lot of the guards using, this one appears to be using a massive curved blade, sheathed in a massive, like the size of a livestock creature slung over his back, as he watches carefully with very rock-like skin as the two of you approach, and he pulls up one of those kind of bark tree clipboards. Name, please.
Lucid Elefikir.
And you?
Raccoon?
He gives a slow nod and looks to you, Lucian, and kind of glances to Raccoon.
Raccoon should be under the name of Lorcan.
Uh,
Yes.
He gives a slow nod and looks over the clipboard, and after a very tense few minutes pass, several pages of guest names, he gives a nod and steps aside and waves a hand. Enter. Welcome
I was
to the
tempted
party.
to say. I was tempted to say Raccoon Lorcan.
That is your new last name.
Much appreciated, and I will.
Yeah.
I will walk like the noble that I am.
All right.
The noble
And Raccoon trotting behind. Zephyr, as you and Gil approach with the Debadrons, the giant steps back to block the entryway. You can see Lucian and Raccoon heading deeper into the palace. Names, please. King Tebadra steps forward and gives a broad smile, looking up at the giant. Anretnal Tebadra and family. And these two, and he gestures to Zephyr and Gil, are my servants. And unless you want to take it up with the head honcho himself that you're not letting me bring my help with me, and he kind of gives an exaggerated tremble and leans on his cane. And you can see the giant visibly kind of cringe at the idea of having to talk to the Khan about something this minor. And after checking the guest list for the Tebadran names, nods and steps aside. Enter. Much appreciated. And starts to hobble in. Come on, everyone, we're burning moonlight.
That was such an old
Yes,
man
sir.
thing to say. We're burning daylight. That's a move.
Zephyr and Gil, do you follow?
I do.
I mean, yeah, I will follow as I am a servant.
All right. You guys enter. Lucy and Raccoon, just for the sake of keeping things like easy to follow, do you want to regroup with the Tebadrons for now once you're in the palace?
Sure.
Okay. You guys enter and start following down. It's a very linear, easy to follow path. It's very dark, and that kind of surprises you. And the giant stepping in the way to block the next guest and give them the shakedown, kind of makes it even darker. But it's easy enough to follow. You can see several orc servants making their way through various doors, and you just follow the path. You're surrounded on all sides by you can see candelabras, not currently lit, but like just glittering in what little moonlight makes it into the hallway. Very fine clay and stone walls and flooring. The flooring covered with this elaborately designed carpet that appears to be foreignly imported, as none of you recognize the designs at a glance. And in the distance, you can already hear music beginning to play and the chattering of various guests. And you guys make it to the end of the hall and step out into the ballroom. Looking around, the ballroom is lit with a giant carved emerald chandelier, a single jewel carved into a chandelier with a seemingly magical light shining through it to cast the whole ballroom in this bright green light that almost reflects that kind of eerie moonlight that occasionally happens. Looking around, you see guests, guards, and Geogran soldiers dotting the room, making chatter with each other, creating this just kind of cacophony of dull conversation that just creates this background noise that almost drowns out the music that's starting to pick up. Looking around, you can see that the ballroom has 3 floors, with a 4th visible at the top, although there appears to be nobody up there, and it's so high above you that you can't see it. And the floors are essentially kind of opera house style, built all around each other in just a clean tower. You can see the stairs leading up to the 2nd floor at the end of the hallway you just exited. And you can see nobility, guards, and soldiers, and at the not exact center, but at like the back of the ballroom, on the bottom floor, overlooking it all, in this kind of area that's almost sequestered off from the rest of the ballroom, as a naturally flowing river cuts through the ballroom, and kind of adds the little of water to it. You see the Khan of the Humor Empire slouching against this elaborate golden throne adorned with emeralds. The throne itself is this massive, stylized after a massive bird of prey, talons wrapping around the head of the throne and wings casting the ballroom into this dull shadow, which only adds to the kind of moonlit, eerie feel that the whole ball seems to have. Nobody seems to be giving you guys any trouble, and you see a few nobles and soldiers nod as all of you enter. And the king glances to all of you and kind of gives a wry smile. I have some business of my own to attend to. I don't stop being king just because of all of you. Have fun. And he starts to hobble off, and the Tebadrons follow. With that, welcome to the summer ball. What would you all like to do?
Finally here.
Well, first, Gil will tell the others, well, turns out my dad and my sister's here. So, gotta watch out for them.
And look at Gil.
Wow.
Did I know that he had a sister?
No, in fact, he specifically said he had no siblings at one point.
I kind of narrow my eyes at him.
Well, it's a long story.
Well,
Well.
maybe you should be a little more, truthful to the people that you're with. With that, I'm
Well-
going to turn on my heel and I'm going to kind of walk away.
All right, splitting the party already. I mean, I figured it was inevitable here, so prepare for a lot of dialogue with specific party members.
I'm following her.
Okay.
Like they're attached.
Raccoon pitter patters behind Lucian as Lucian walks off.
Pitter-patter.
Bada, 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 bada.
Just imagining the Mr. Krabs walk now. Oh, man.
So, Zephyr and Gil, what would you like to do?
I guess I'm going to go and look for my sister and see how she's doing.
Okay. Zephyr, what are you planning to do?
I don't give a crap about his sister, but no. You know what? I'll follow him.
All right. Party split in half.
Yeah.
Okay, so Gil, you're looking for somebody in specific. So, Lucian, are you or Raccoon looking for anyone?
As soon as people start coming in, I will look for the Queen of Wicked and kind of wait for her to come in, and then I will.
You cut out?
Yeah, one more time. You're a little
Sorry,
spotty.
I said once my queen is here, I will go and say hello.
Okay.
I'm following.
Yeah, gotta stick with the group, or well, the split group. Also, before we go any further, just want to make sure, Gil, just in case, I don't know if it alerted you, but I did pin the reference.
Yeah, I remember now.
Okay, so I guess since it's going to be a small in-universe pause before the Wicked Queen enters, Gil, there's a big ballroom and a lot of guests here. So make me a perception check to see if you can track down your relatives.
Apparently, I'm so thrown off by the fact that my sister's here. It was a 7.
Yeah, looking around, it's a bit hard to spot anyone through just the massive crowd, and every time you see a passing Geogran soldier, you kind of immediately get thrown back. And Zephyr, you can tell Gil seems to be having a hard time focusing and seems really thrown off by the presence of his family.
You okay there?
He's actually going to jump a little bit. Oh, yeah, everything's fine. Fine.
The way you said that sounded so concerned. You okay there?
Well, it is Zephyr.
Zephyr. Zephyr is Zephyr. Well, I don't know what you're up to, but For now, I'm going to follow you. Just why not?
Well, as you must know, I'm looking for my family. I haven't seen my sister in years, to the point where my dad actually brainwashed me into realizing I didn't have a sister.
Oh.
It's a bit scandalous, actually.
Mm.
You see, she broke off from the family and created her own semi kingdom. So dad doesn't like her.
Excuse me.
Sounds like sounds like a good family to me.
Yeah, I'm sure it would to you.
Oh. Is he wearing his hat? Still, are you wearing your hat?
Yep.
He's wearing it, but he hasn't used it yet.
Well, yeah, I know that. Which I've learned some information about the hat, which is interesting.
Oh?
Well, I about what the hat can do and what it technically can't do, but that's already done. So, um,
I think I know what you're referring to, and don't worry, I was keeping track of it.
talking about summer.
Um, yeah, well, another thing I was thinking of, but regardless, yes, like I am keeping track of like magical item capabilities to the best of my ability. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's whatever. Yeah, it's whatever. I noticed. But anyway, uh, so you planning on just trying to reunite with your apparently sister that you had but forgot you had, or I don't know.
Well, I'm hoping to get some information. And who knows, she might know something about the Scar Concord.
Maybe, maybe. Let's go find out then.
So, I was gonna say, you're welcome to tag along. And he's gonna keep looking.
Okay. Zephyr, are you gonna help or?
I mean, I don't know what his sister looked like, so
Well, you've
he's
seen his
just.
father, so
I seen his father.
yeah,
So, well, I mean, he's probably not gonna help. He's just following.
fair enough. Um, yeah, I'll say like again to avoid the perception check loop. It does take some doing, but you head to the second
Well, I
floor.
was gonna say, I rolled it again, it was a 22.
So okay, regardless, it wouldn't matter. But yeah, basically like for situations like this, where to avoid looping perception checks, it'll basically be you can make the perception check to find them quickly, but you can basically spend extra time finding them without a check, but you may lose, for instance, the opportunity to talk to them alone. Speaking of which, uh, heading to the second floor of the ballroom, you do manage to find your father with your sister standing loyally with a soldier's posture at his side, currently engaged in just polite conversation over small glasses of wine with a figure that you can't really see very clearly, but you can see they're wearing a very so humble and patchwork you're startled that they managed to get in, like drab brown suit with a very wide brimmed feathered hat over it that shields a lot of their face from your view, so you can't clearly see what they look like, but you just see this large humanoid figure wearing this very drab brown clothing, the feather in the hat the only thing that gives them anything resembling an air of fancy.
Hmm. So, and my sister doesn't move away from my dad at all.
Yeah, she's just like standing, like not even really looking at your father or the person they're talking to. Just like she almost, with her posture and mannerism, seems to almost come across like she's guarding him more than she's actually involved in the discussion.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
And I'm looking at things that I have to see if I can do this or not.
Yeah. If you want, we can cut to see what Lucian's doing for a bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Lucian, you and Raccoon kind of separate from the boys and give it a moment. And sure enough, after a few more noble groups file in, huh?
The boys.
Yeah, the boys. You see the Wicked Queen enter, still arms crossed and looking over everything with just a very stern and impatient expression. And she kind of sighs and starts just kind of looking around as she enters, just taking in everything and deciding what to do next.
I don't want to seem like. Does she seem like she's occupied or?
Make an insight check.
Let's see here. Insight. Not very good. 9.
It's hard to tell. I will say she doesn't seem busy. She just seems like she's in a crappy mood. But like at the moment, she's just looking around, kind of deciding what to do next. It doesn't necessarily seem like she's doing anything. More just like deciding what to do, and whatever is pissing her, whatever bee got in her bonnet is really buzzing.
I will go over to her and give a bow to her.
She kind of seems a bit surprised, not like fully startled, but just kind of like, oh, like, but returns the bow deeply, and looks down to Raccoon.
I'm
And
going to try to mimic Lucian's bow.
the Wicked Queen smiles and bows as well. Very surprising for an elf nobility to bow to a goblin. But she kind of straightens up her posture and collects herself into a polite expression, but Lucian, you and Raccoon can both tell it's strained. Like she's maintaining what little patience she has left to have this conversation, and looks to you, Lucian. Is there something I can help you with, Pup?
It's good to see you.
Her brow kind of furrows slightly, and she kind of rubs at her eyes a bit and says, accept my humblest apologies, but I've had a very, very long week dealing with idiots, to put it bluntly. Where have we met?
Lucian kind of tilts her head. Lucian Illifica.
You see her eyes go wide, and she kind of takes a very visible step back and looks you up and down, and finally kind of straightens herself out and takes a deep breath. Apologies if I seem rather startled, but I was told you were dead.
Oh, that was my father. That is dead. I was named after him.
No, you misunderstand. I was told that the accident that claimed the life of your father claimed yours as well.
Oh.
Oh.
Lucian looks visibly shocked, and she the way that like her expression is like of somebody who's trying to process something and then has a slight indication as to what happened, and nodded and nods her head. It's the I know it's
You're cutting out.
She's kind of like struggling to say something. She really looks like she doesn't know what to say. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm well.
Yes, I can see that. And she kind of collects herself and holds out her hand to take yours. Do you accept?
Of course.
And she lays another long, black, gloved and slender hand over yours and gives you another bow. My poor mood aside, I am very happy to see that you're well and still with us. We all mourned you.
I'll have to come back to Wicket. I
Uh,
left for a reason that I had some business, but I feel like I can come back for a little bit.
She gives a nod and her smile seems to be becoming smoother and more relaxed as you take her mind off of whatever's irritating her, and she gives a nod. You don't have to return to service if you do not wish it, but we would welcome you. Your former colleagues would be ecstatic to see you still with us and well. You and your father's research still drives a lot of the scholarly pursuits back in Wicket.
I'm glad to hear it's doing some good at least.
Afra.
Sorry about that. um, um, she kind of like holds the queen's hand for a little bit and tightens her grip. Have things been all right?
Of course, going as well as they can. Things are getting more tense these days than I'd like, but we do what we can. Oh, and uh, all miracles of necromancy aside, I seem to have forgotten my manners. And she holds out a hand to you, Raccoon. Who might you be?
I am Raccoon, and it is very nice to meet you. You're very pretty.
She smiles, and you can see her eyes kind of glint mischievously behind her glasses. I do what I can. It's a pleasure to meet you, Raccoon.
It is a pleasure to meet you as well.
She sighs and collects herself before looking back to you, Lucian. What made you decide to come to the ball? I figured if you wanted to remain anonymous this long, you would want that trend to continue.
Well, I heard that this ball is the kind that you want to go to if you want to like make an impression.
Deciding to come back with a bang, are we?
She kind of gives a playful smile. You know, my family is very much well known for being like that.
That you are, that you are. Well, while you may not be in my service any longer, I do still miss the days when you and your family were in my court. So, if there's anything I can do to help you make an impression, and she kind of taps against her thigh, be sure to let me know, and I'll pull some strings.
I give her a bow, smile. You are most gracious as usual.
Uh, she smiles and kind of does the hand wave of "Oh, stop!" And her smile is slowly broadening and becoming more genuine. Oh, I conduct myself as a lady should, pup.
I have, I do have somebody here that I am with. So maybe I will see you later with them.
Of course, I know how these events can be for everyone. Welcome back to the land of the living, and I'll keep your seat warm, as the kids say.
I
See,
I will be sure to return to Wicket at least for a little while, so people know that I am okay.
she gives a nod and does a curtsy to both of you. Well, do not let me keep you, and we'll be sure to have quite the welcome ready when you return. And she gives you a bow, Lucian, and smiles down to you, Raccoon. Be sure to take care of yourself, pup.
Of course.
We will.
As soon as the queen is out of my earshot, I would like to say in Celestial, that fucking bastard.
What the fucking hood?
You don't know what it's in celestial.
No, I wasn't
Yeah,
saying
he
she
knows.
did. I'm saying me as me saying, what a fucking mood. Because Raccoon would never say mood.
All right. Heading back to the second floor. Gil, have you decided what you're going to do?
Yes, I'm going to duck off into an alcove, and I'm actually going to use my hat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hat away. Zephyr, you kind of take up like a kind of idle position to make sure nobody spots him. What would you like to disguise as?
A childhood friend of my sister's.
A childhood friend, like, I mean,
Well, childhood for us will still be at least 100 years for the rest of you.
well, how tall is this person? No, that's a question.
No,
Same height.
yeah, I have someone in mind. So okay, Zephyr, you watch as Gil takes the form of a young woman, seemingly human, and with a very somewhat messy head of short black hair that ends in red tips. Very, very pale skin, and donned in a towing the line between cute and traditional beautiful, black and red skirt, with leggings and a thick pair of boots. Again, it kind of toes the line between like fashion and practicality, but it works for her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Her slash him.
I am then going to head over towards my sister and try to talk to her.
Okay. As soon as you start making your way, Zephyr, do you want to follow?
um, yeah, sure. I mean, he's gonna follow.
Okay. As you approach, Gil, your father actually notices first, and you see his eyes kind of go wide, and he kind of nods to your sister, who kind of looks around, almost confused, and turns, and her eyes go wide as well. And you see the figure in the brown suit kind of turn, but their face is still largely hidden by the hat. And as you approach, the general bows to you. Queen Blackthorn, you grace us with your presence.
Hmm, yes, I do.
Gil, you're gonna get in so much trouble. You're gonna fuck up.
I'm just laughing so hard over here.
I don't know how to react.
The moment you said a childhood friend, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good." Your sister, for her part, just gives you a courtesy nod, but your father kind of gives a kind of wry smile and places a hand on your sister's shoulder. You can drop the etiquette for a short while, Melina. And your sister, the composure snaps like a twig. Her completely straight face turns into a wide, almost face-breaking smile, and she like almost tackles you into a hug and starts talking rapid fire. She has a very stilted and heavily accented voice, but you can still understand her despite the fact that she's talking like at 20 words a second. And she hops up and down, like lifting you up and down with her as she smiles excitedly.
I will reciprocate.
Uh,
That's
it is
interesting.
so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a very long time. Did you cut your hair?
Yeah, it needed it.
The king kind of gives a wry smile. That it did. I think it works better for you this way, but that may just be my bias talking. And he kind of gestures to the military buzz cut.
Eh, you never know.
He gives a smile and raises his glass to you. So, what brings you to our table? Last I heard, you were in some pretty intense discussion with Sun Dragon, Autumn Fall, and Shadow Lily, was it?
Yes, that's part of why I came. Shadow Lily decided to come here as well, so some discussions are best in person.
Oh, no, of course, you misunderstand. What brings you to us in particular? I know we've not exactly been the best of chums in the past, being across a continent from each other and, let's say, wildly different ways of viewing the world. We'll do that to you, but rest assured, nothing but peaceful intentions, and it is a pleasure to see you. I'm just curious if you had some intention in mind.
Well, I did want to talk with, and I forget her name. I don't know my sister's name.
Melina.
Okay, Melina. It's been a while since we've had a chance to catch up, you know?
That it has. That it has. Well, I suppose I won't keep you too long. Come on, Captain. We can have this discussion elsewhere. And the figure in the brown suit just gives a nod, and the two of them start to walk away, leaving you with Melina, who's still like hopping up and down slightly as she hugs you on one side.
I will then take Melina's arm and see if we can't go somewhere a little bit more seclusive.
Okay. Um, Zephyr, will you follow?
Sure. He's just gonna keep along this. Okay.
I'll say with a bit of looking, there is several servants' quarters and storage closets and whatnot built on the opposite sides of the ballroom. So it's not super difficult, but I will say make me a stealth check to see if you can do this unnoticed. I'll say Zephyr roll separately, since you're not necessarily helping each other, but just like trying to stay out of the public eye.
23.
All right.
All right. Well, yes. 9.
All right. You both feel pretty stealthy, and you pull Melina into a fairly respectably sized storage pantry where a lot of the preservable foods are kept for the servants to access. So waiters can refill their trays and whatnot. And the whole time you're pulling her along and pulling her in, Melina doesn't even seem to notice what you're doing and is still talking rapid fire. Oh, it's been so long. I haven't seen you in a very long time. I'm happy to see you. What have you been up to?
Sounds like Lucian.
I would then tell her on the way, uh, I'll tell you more in just a little while. I have a surprise for you.
She kind of gasps and looks around, almost scandalized, and leans down to you and whispers, very like cautiously, being very like Zephyr. You can't even clearly hear what she's saying, and she's very careful not to be overheard. And for the first calm, understandable sentence she's spoken in a while, but here at the party, that would be scandalous.
Just wait and see.
You can see her her face start to tinge very slightly red, but she nods and continues to follow you.
Bro, you're gonna ruin this girl's night.
Really should have. Which childhood friend?
So it would seem.
Well, yeah, my thing is,
Gil, you're gonna ruin her night. You're gonna ruin it.
I'm so
not
happy.
anymore, I'm not. Not after hearing that.
I'm just curious if I'm just curious what of this person now, based off what she's done so far.
And I will then tell her, well, first I thought we could chat for a bit. We could save the rest for later and wink.
She gives a quiet nod and blushes slightly, but kind of coughs into her fist to compose herself, and returns to her proper decorum that you had seen her adopting with your father. You're committed to the deception, and I respect that, but
This is hard.
Yes, I'm actually cringing over here at the thought of what the
I
hell
am
is going to happen.
too.
You've done such a bad. You've done such a bad.
Yeah.
It's so
I
bad.
feel so
Yeah.
bad for her.
Yeah, I feel really bad.
Some part of
I should have been more specific.
some part of me doesn't know. I'm curious of what she. Well, it depends on how Matt interprets some of these spells. Because,
don't worry, I know what you're referring to. I'm keeping up.
yeah, so I mean, I I don't feel bad.
Okay, so once we get to, you said it was a pantry?
Yeah, basically like one of those things you see in like really high-to-do kitchens of just basically a long walk-in closet with the shelves lined with like breads and fruits and whatnot. A place for the, like I said, the waiters to restock without having to disappear into the depths of the palace.
So once we're in there, uh, do I have any way of like securing the door a bit?
I mean,
You do see a small, like not necessarily even a chair, like a very, very small, like actually fit for raccoon chair. But it seems more just to be used as a step stool. But it could make an improvised barricade.
Yeah, so I'm going to do that.
Okay. I'll say you lay it over the top of the door, rather like the doorknob, rather than lacing it because it wouldn't fit going it the traditional way. It'll serve the same function. It'll bar the door. Um,
I am inside with them.
yeah, and you both feel very stealthy. Um, and yeah, I will say, like, she hadn't paid much attention to anything but you on the way, but she does kind of tilt her head and get down completely into a squat, you completely forgotten, and smiles at you, Zephyr. It is a pleasure to meet you. My name is Melina Dimebog.
Can I roll an insight check on her?
Go for it.
That will be an insight. That'll be 16.
Her face is very hard to read. You can't really get like she seems honest, but it's she has the expression of someone who doesn't really know how to conduct their facial expression really, and you kind of understand now why her father seems to be kind of strict on how she conducts herself, as she's gone back and forth between being this hyper excitable like child basically to prim and proper soldier, and now like kind of insulting you by squatting to look you in the eye. But so she's just hard to read. She seems very like unpredictably emotive.
Mm.
Yes, don't mind him.
Mm.
He's harmless enough.
Enough.
Well, he certainly looks that way. But
No, isn't he adorable?
he very much is, and she like reaches out to like pull you in for like essentially like let me pet the rabbit's George cuddles. I'm gonna assume you resist.
I'm simply going to tell her, I wouldn't do that.
Oh, is it uncomfortable for you?
He's not quite tame yet.
He's going to look at Gil and be like,
I'm going to sign to him. I'll pay you later.
what?
I will pay you later. Just go with it.
Okay.
And you're paying him back the money you already stole.
Yeah, like give him the money, he's stolen, but he's just like whatever. But I just would rather you not touch me.
That is okay. Can I know your name at least?
My name. My name
I,
is Zephyr.
I, yeah, we call him Zeppy.
She breaks into a beaming smile. Can I call you
As
Zeffy?
he sort of just kind of pats the side of his like his like side. Just is frustrated and saddened that he does not have his dagger. um. Well, names aside, is there any particular reason we're in this room?
Uh,
Oh, we were just wanting
Whoever
to
you
catch
are.
up. Not quite sure why you're here.
I could say I could say the same to you. Can't you catch up in out there in the public?
Not if we don't want eavesdroppers.
Oh, you're telling secrets that you don't want people to know.
Maybe.
Hmm.
you can see Melina fidgeting and audibly swallowing.
Well,
Gil.
That poor girl.
If Raccoon knew about this, she'd be so pissed.
Oh, I don't
mean,
even. I don't. Lucian would just so mad.
This kills the man.
I can easily just ruin it for Gil, but I mean,
He's gonna
offer-
ruin it for himself. Give him a bit.
It's
I
true.
know. I figured.
I'm trying, you guys, okay? I'm trying.
You've been in this room for like 2 minutes. Just drop the disguise.
But well,
I'm then going to
yeah, proceed.
look at her and say, so I actually have some information about your brother.
She kind of visibly like corrects her posture and returns to the soldier's demeanor and crosses her arms behind her back. I do not know what you're referring to.
He's then going to drop the skies and say, hello, sister.
She kind of
Sorry about the skies there. I didn't know y'all were that close.
stares at you for a moment, and her expression drops not into the frown you were expecting, but more just like a like almost like she was expecting it, and shakes her head, and some of her like curls kind of bob around. I will admit, part of me saw it coming. She would never cut her hair willingly.
Yeah, I couldn't let father know I was here.
Yeah, you couldn't. What do you want?
Well, just had some questions that I needed to answer. Plus, why are you with Dad? I thought you had your own area.
I do. But to keep up appearances, we're still in an alliance. And if you ask outside of this room, we don't know each other.
Ah, well, which alliance are you in?
She kind of quirks her brow and tilts her head to the side, and you can see more of the kind of innocent, sweet demeanor she normally carries herself with. You don't know her incredibly well, but you do know her well enough. She is very like friendly and kind to everyone. So her conducting herself like this, even with the information made clear, she's likely not happy with you. But she closes her eyes and kind of sighs a bit.
I wouldn't be happy with him either.
That's
I know,
fair.
right?
The alliance between General Gyoga and the Dimebog territories.
That one's good to hear. Have you heard of the one called the Scar Concord?
Her brow kind of furrows, and she tilts her head to the other side. No, I cannot say I have.
Well,
If you're trying to throw together some crackpot rebellion to overthrow Father, I'm afraid you're asking the wrong person.
no, I'm not. But I am worried that they may try. And I have nothing to do with it. I'm trying to take them down.
Her nostrils kind of flare a bit, and she looks you up and down and squints a bit.
If you don't believe me, I'll take out one of my daggers and hand it to her. Just kill me now.
It's not a
You have
matter.
nothing to worry
It's
about.
not a matter of believing you. She kind of takes a deep breath, and she turns to look at Zephyr. What do you know about this?
About what?
What he's talking about?
The Concord, this Concord alliance that has some people freaked out.
Freaked out how?
A big alliance that isn't a very friendly one, I hear, and some people are afraid. Some people are angry.
They're against everyone who's not human.
You see she was kind of like nodding along slowly to Zephyr, but then turns to look at you, Gil, seeming more confused than irritated that you spoke. I don't know anything about that. The only alliance I've heard making waves recently is I know Wyborn and Barbarous have been a bit closer than some people would care for. Same with the Tebadrins, but that's all I know of.
Yes, that's part of them. They are part of the Scar Concord.
Her eyes kind of widen, and she glances to the door and glances
And
back at
there's
you.
many more. And most of them are here at this party, from what I've heard. I'm here to gather more information.
While I understand the somewhat tense relationship between the two of you, why take this up with me instead of Father? The General.
Because you are more understanding and not quite so
If
likely
you're going
to
to say
blow up.
forgiving, I would slow down a bit.
Forgiving you are not, but less likely to not blow up in my face.
So I'm not a threat to you, is what you're saying.
Oh no, not at all. There's a difference between a threat and then just, well, not listening. And Father wouldn't listen and give me the time of day. But he listens to you.
So you want me to take it up to him on your behalf?
I know you don't have any reason to, but I am looking out for the best for all of us.
She kind of crinkles her nose a bit, and
I would not have made an appearance if it was not important.
I'm sure. I'll do what I can, but I make no promises. And she gives you a nod, Zephyr. It was a pleasure to meet you.
And for what it is worth, I am sorry.
You should be. And she steps towards you and kind of prods you in the chest. You don't know anything about me or the people I used to know. Watch what you do and say around me. She's important to me.
I understand.
She kind of gives you a nod and steps back and kind of looks you up and down, kind of considering before patting you on the shoulder and giving a small smile, and looks down to you, Zephyr, and her smile kind of broadens a bit. You really are adorable.
Well, I appreciate if you didn't.
She clasps her hands in front of her and gives you a bow. Of course. I'll see what I can do about this Scar Concord, but I'm not making any promises. Father's been on edge lately. The General, I mean.
Of course. And understandably so. I wouldn't be surprised if he's already heard some edge of this.
Given that he decided it was appropriate to bring an army to a party, I suppose that's true.
I agree.
And with that, she just haphazardly tosses the stool away from the door.
And as she
Opens it.
leaves, Gil would like to say, "It was nice to see you again."
She kind of pauses as she's going outside the door, and she thinks for a long moment before saying, "You as well. Next time, approach me as yourself instead of the one I'm courting, please." And with that, shuts the door.
You got told.
Get fucked, Gil.
Seriously.
Everyone's against it.
Oh my
In
fucking
fairness, this
God.
one was completely his fault.
It really is. You're terrible.
I have no idea.
That was awful. That's when he should have just as soon as the first inkling of flirtation happened, you should be like, oh no, immediately.
Yeah, I gotta
Get
go.
fucking hoped up.
No, because I will say, in Gil's slight
never
defense,
gone.
he genuinely had, that's why she was pointing out. Gil, in character, has no idea who this woman is or what relation she and the Dimebog ruler have. So, yeah, Gil genuinely had no idea who she was outside of someone she knew as a kid. But yes, that is fair, that, whenever she started clearly being like that, you really should have just excused yourself to the bathroom.
Yeah, well,
And fucking yoded yourself
know, but
out of there. My
would've followed.
God.
She would have followed.
Would she?
Yes.
maybe who knows?
She would have seen
My
it
thing
as
is,
a rendezvous.
Oh, man.
She would have seen it as a rendezvous.
I feel like she saw.
No, that I don't think.
Oh, this
Yeah.
is
Oh
hilarious.
my
Yeah.
Just some part of me
God.
feels like out of character. She saw through it a bit.
I can't
She did
fucking
mention that she
believe.
noticed inconsistencies in the disguises, but was too happy to see her to really comment on it.
Ah.
Yeah, mostly having cut my hair.
Well, no, not just that. There's other stuff as well.
I just got a message from someone watching. Oh, boy, Gil.
Oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
What are there more people saying anything about it?
Not in chat at the moment, at least that I can see.
Yeah, no one's saying anything. There's no one in chat right now.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, didn't. So recovering from that, let's give Gil a moment to bask in his shame and head downstairs.
For shame, for sure.
For sure.
Shame.
Boy, man.
Deception,
I think Gil now is more hated than Zephyrus.
Come on his face.
Yeah.
So, Lucian and Raccoon,
Deception.
as you part from the Wicked Queen, and Lucian taking a moment to just swear and curse, what would the two of you like to do, if anything?
Okay. So I know that my brother said that he would be changing. I'm going to see if I can look around and see if I can find him.
Okay. Go ahead and make me a perception check. Like I said, this is just to see if you can catch him alone. But if you fail, I'll basically you'll take longer, and you may not be able to catch him by himself, but you will find him.
That is dirty 20.
Okay. And Raccoon, you tagging along for this as well?
Of course.
All right.
Unless
the small people are
I don't really want
following the
to
elves.
split the party too much, so I'm just gonna stick with her.
That's fair. But again, if you really want to, feel free to pursue your own agenda.
Can I say something?
My
for
own
Raccoon's
agenda is
sake?
snacks. My own agenda is snacks, but I can't go after them now. So
Can I say something for Raccoon though?
What do you want?
what?
Okay, so you've seen Lucian mad before, I mean,
Uh-huh.
with Gil, it's it's bound to happen at one point. But this is kind of more like something. It seems more personal, and that she is like almost to the point where if you look closely, you can see that she is like clenching her fist, and trying to take deep breaths and calm down because she is mad.
Mad about what?
You don't know, but you can tell just by her demeanor.
He hasn't done anything since you last talked.
Anyways.
He hasn't done anything since you last talked.
She's not mad at Gil. She's just mad. But
Yeah.
like I'm just saying, you've seen her mad because of Gil.
Oh,
This is more of a personal.
Yeah, like basically she's
like,
clearly
something-
angrier than you've ever seen
something
her.
okay. I thought you were talking
Yeah.
about you were mad at Gil, and I was like, but Gil hasn't
No,
done
no,
anything.
no. I was saying that you've seen her mad because of Gil, but this is like a more personal.
Oh no, you're mad about them thinking you're dead or saying you're dead.
Yeah.
I misunderstood
Or at
because
least
when you
that's
said
what
it.
you can. At least
Because I
that's what you can
misunderstood when you
probably
said
gather.
at Gil. Yeah, when you
No.
said at Gil, I
Yeah,
was like,
it's okay. It's all good. We're cleared
What?
up now.
Sorry.
Did you do? Does she have a sixth sense
Oh,
that
a
he just
lot of
fucked up?
things. A lot of things.
So, Lucian,
I
with
would not be surprised.
with Raccoon pitter-pattering behind you, it's actually not too hard. You find him by himself, kind of looking over the snacks table with his eye kind of wandering. It doesn't seem to have noticed you as you kind of see him. He is now donned in a somewhat rough, and it doesn't seem to fit him super well. You recognize it as the suit Dr. Watson had been wearing whenever you first met him, the red, almost velvet textured one with the gold silken undershirt. It fits a bit awkwardly on his frame, but he carries it decently well, and his scars show proudly as he looks over the snack table. And although he is still wearing the golden hooded cloak, but the hood is pulled back as he just kind of looks over the snack table. What would you like to do?
So before I go over to him, I just kind of I want to compose myself and try not to be too obvious about being angry with him. After a few moments, I will go over to him.
As you approach, most likely seeing you coming, he spins around and hops to kind of like half sit, half lean on the snack table with a smile and pops a small handheld cupcake into his mouth. Hello, sister.
That is much better.
Thank you. I borrowed it from Dr. Watson.
Is he here?
Yes, I was actually waiting for him.
Do you mind if I wait with you?
I guess that would be okay, but we may have to excuse ourselves. You know how parties like this are, a lot of private political discussions.
I give a little smirk. Yes, I had a couple interesting conversations tonight.
Oh yeah, do tell.
Nothing you don't already know, brother. I kind of give a it's one of those smiles probably from our childhood of you know what you fucking did smile.
He kind of starts looking around, seeming genuinely confused, and tilts his head to the side, and finally holds up a hand. Whatever you heard, I promised you I would not make trouble at the party.
I'm not making trouble. I'm just saying I had the interesting conversation. That's all.
But I know that look on your face. You think I did something. I didn't do anything.
I didn't say today, not did I?
He kind of narrows his eyes, and his eye starts to kind of rapidly scan the direction you came from and start like looking up and down, and you can see his face kind of grimacing as the eye can do a lot of things, but reading the past, it does not appear to be one of its abilities. And he kind of blinks as the eye recenters itself. What do you think I did exactly?
I'm not going to. I'm not going to go tonight. Tonight is a night. I think we already have. Can make an appointment with Dr. Watson, and then she's gonna say this very, very like haughtily, family therapy.
He kind of his gaze actually falls more somber and serious than you'd expect, and gives a slow nod. I guess that would be okay, but it is okay, or is it okay, if we have the family therapy after I get back from Wicked?
Actually, interestingly enough, I'm also going to. Maybe we can do it on the way.
He kind of his eyes kind of close and he nods, kind of seeming unsure but slowly, and says, I am not against the idea, but we have to make sure it's okay with Dr. Watson. You know, he has a very busy schedule. You heard that he's planning to take a trip to Gyoger after the party's over.
Yes, I'm very interested. Are you not gonna go to Georger with him? Or are you just going straight to Wicked?
I said that I would go with him if he wanted me to, but he said that he didn't need me there and that I should do what I wanted to do in Wicked first. So I'll probably go there after I'm done.
I think it would be best if maybe we go together.
He gives a kind of slow nod and says, well, make sure you think about it and that you're sure. It's a very long trip, but I would not be against going with you if you want to. But I'm going to be very busy.
I'm also going to be very busy. I haven't sorted out Father's theme, and I need to do that.
He gives a nod. Well, then I guess it's a good a time as any. And he kind of glances to the side, and you see his eye start to trail the stairs leading up to the second floor, and you follow, and sure enough, stepping out, dressed in a surprisingly humble, like more than you'd expect from him, tweed jacket and bluish red bow tie, steps Dr. Watson. His hair immaculately curled, but the gap in his teeth and the gap in his buck teeth still shining prominently as he gives a wry smile, seeing the two of you, and starts to step forward. And unexpectedly, you hear a kind of arrhythmic thunking, something very heavy sounding up the stairs behind him, and you see a pair of almost metallic spider legs pull up over the stairs from something out of your view, and pulling whatever it is upwards. You see being pulled over the staircase the high-tech clockwork chair piloted by the Tengu that you had seen bring the airship that currently is parked over the city. And he kind of takes a moment to dust off parts of the chair that had been a bit scuffled, pulling itself up the stairs, and smiles before the chair starts to kind of spider-like pull it. It's basically like the legs will reach forward, pull, but the chair's gears act as wheels to let it be pulled along smoothly. And he stays at a small, respectable distance behind Dr. Watson. As he starts to get closer, you can see the outfit he's wearing, as he had been dressed very surprisingly humbly whenever he came in. You see this Tengu is very small and frail looking. He doesn't look old, just like that kind of like almost baby-like body. and you can see a pair of spectacles over his eyes, but his body is covered in a very ornate-looking red and gold cloak. And you can see a pair of fancy green spats and gloves on his feet and hands, respectively. And the parts that are not covered in the cloak are adorned in a very respectable black suit. And clutched in one of his hands is a trumpet that you recognize as helping those hard of hearing hear better, hearing trumpet. And as the two of them approach, the crowd, you can see another figure coming up, but the crowd starts to kind of thicken and cuts that whoever it is off from the rest of them as these two approach your little trio. Dr. Watson, arriving first, speaks up with a smile. Oh, well, isn't this a nice family reunion? I hope you two are getting along. Hello, Raccoon.
I'm well, we're doing fine, and I kind of like bring into like a side hug to Lucifer and kind of give him a side glance. And
Lucifer seems genuinely kind of unsettled, but returns it to keep up appearances. Watson
Hello,
gives.
Doctor.
Hello, Raccoon. Glad to see you well. You enjoying the party?
Very much so. Have you seen Market at all? I thought he might come, but I don't know. I haven't seen him.
He kind of thinks for a second, kind of looking at you, and then gives a shrug. I can't say I have, unfortunately. Although I did pay him a visit last night.
Oh, is he okay?
Of course, just wanted to see me about this rather nasty cough he's been developing.
He's got
he
the
all right?
cough?
Oh, it's nothing life-threatening, I assure you. Changing of the seasons, it tends to get to all of us.
Mm.
But does not the season change now, is it?
Well, we are at the summer ball, aren't we?
That is true.
Rest assured, he'll be fine. He may have just decided to play it safe. After all, the ball will be going for the next 2 weeks. It's not like he has to be here on the first night.
That is true.
And he turns to you, Lucian, and kind of gives a kind of start as the Tengu's chair pulls up next to him. Oh, I don't believe, Lucian and Raccoon, you have been properly introduced. This is another close comrade of mine. While he's not a medical doctor, we have encountered each other for obvious reasons, and he pats the very high-tech looking chair. Meet Tropu Baikok, the owner of the, well, less an airship and more a city that currently is parked over this one.
I'm sorry, Troop. I'm reading my notes down. Can you spell that name for me?
Tropu Baikok, Troppu Biqock.
Okie dokie. And he is a what?
Tengu, basically the like actual mythology version of a Kenku.
Okay.
So for all intents and purposes, you can just picture a Kenku.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
The Tengu kind of gives a shaky smile and bow of the head to the two of you, and speaks. And despite his very frail-looking appearance, he actually speaks with a very clear and like kind of high and mighty tone. You do recognize the accent is distinctly foreign, definitely nothing that would be naturally heard in Yav. It is a pleasure to meet all of you. Dr. Watson has spoke very highly of you.
I give a bow. It is nice to meet you. My name is.
The Tengu gives a slow nod and puts the hearing trumpet to his ear. I'm sorry, could you repeat yourself? Airship machinery tends to do a number on your hearing.
She speaks up a little bit more. Lucien Elefikir.
He slowly lowers the hearing trumpet and nods and repeats back to you perfectly in your voice. Lucien El Felakir.
That is impressive, sir.
He gives a smile, a kind of wry smile and nod. Well, it comes rather naturally to me and my kin.
Where are you from, if you don't mind me asking, sir?
Well, as far as this party's concerned, I'm from the skies.
Oh, you came in those floating boats?
My airship is quite a masterpiece of engineering, if I do say so myself. Don't let this man take all the credit. I developed a lot of that myself. And you
Is
can
that
see
what they're
Watson
called?
kind of scrunch up his face a bit, but doesn't say anything.
Is that
And
what they're called?
They're called airships.
the
The
Tengu
floating boat?
The Tengu gives a nod. Yes, indeed, an airship. My own design, or rather, a customized spin on one. Takes me wherever I wish to go, and I happen to have some business here in Yav, and figured it'd be appropriate to pay my respects to the ball.
Well, let me be one of many to welcome you to here to y'all.
Oh, it is a pleasure to be welcomed by one so lovely. And he holds out a very small, almost like uh what's the word for like a muscle or body part that you're using so little that it like starts to shrivel?
Atrophied.
Atrophied.
Atrophy?
Yeah, this very atrophied looking wing to you for you to place your hand in.
I
How
will
do-
I
how-
will give him my hand.
How do the airship? Yes, airship. How do they float? Is it magic?
Oh, I prefer to keep magic rather out of my personal dealings, sans whatever I need to keep myself healthy. No, it keeps itself afloat through a rather complex and something that I doubt any of you would find interesting mixture of air motions and wind. Although we are dabbling with some more advanced means, Dr. Watson and I, to make things a bit easier to keep me afloat.
Like the wind is strong enough to hold it up?
He kind of gives a smile. My dear, the wind is strong enough for a lot more than you think it is. After all, wind and water can fell a mountain if you give it long enough.
So it can carry a boat, but it can't make me fly.
Well, it could make you fly, very briefly.
Oh.
Well, see, raccoon, birds have special bones that help them fly. You do not.
But boats don't have bones to fly.
No, but they have certain mechanics that can help them fly. Am I right, sir?
He gives a nod. Yes, the mechanics are rather complex, and as I said, I don't imagine any of you would find it all that interesting, aside from Dr. Watson, but I'd hate to alienate those of a lesser capacity than ourselves.
You'd be surprised
That
what I
sounded
am
mean.
interested in. You'd be surprised what interests me.
Perhaps at some point you, Dr. Watson, and myself can visit my study and we can talk shop.
I wouldn't have asked if I wasn't curious.
Well, there's a
Sure.
difference, honey.
Very well, very well. Now is not a great time. There's a lot of people to talk to, and I don't want to tweet your ear off all night. But feel free to visit the town center. I will have my protege there awaiting you. Speaking of which, where is that daft little goblin? And you
Goblin?
see a small reddish brown hand kind of wave through the crowd, seemingly kind of wading through it. I'm coming! I'm coming! And elbowing through the crowd, you see this reddish brown goblin with bright, almost blood red eyes under a mop of greasy black hair, kind of like scurry forward and place a hand on the side of Mr. Bakak's wheelchair. And the Tengu kind of looks him up and down and gives a nod of approval and kind of leans back in his chair. I suppose it'd be rather rude of me to not introduce everyone. This is Bragdu, my apprentice, and has been for quite some time now.
Raccoon hasn't seen another goblin in years, so she's kind of like, what? Like her eyes are wide.
Mm-hmm.
It is a pleasure to meet you.
The goblin holds out a hand. And pleasure to meet you as well.
Lucien Elefikir. And I shake his hand.
He smiles. Brogdu. Just Brogdu.
Bragdu, this is Raccoon. She is a friend of mine. She also is a goblin.
His eyes.
No, continue.
His eyes fall on Raccoon, and you see his head kind of tilt to the side and smile a bit. So it's Raccoon now, is it?
Yes, my name is Raccoon.
He kind of squints at you and gives a slow nod and shrugs before turning to look back to Lucien. Yes, as I'm sure the old bird's already explained to you, I am his apprentice, learning how to pilot the airship and lead my people to more greatness than I already have been.
Are you interested in his work as well?
Interested is a small way of putting it. Honestly, I could dedicate my whole life to this study and never get tired of it.
I give a smile. I understand. I am interested in becoming a doctor. I know a lot about medicine, and I've studied a lot myself.
You see the Tengu kind of like lolling back and forth in his chair, seeming actually kind of happy and excited. Oh, this will be most wonderful. We'll all be the greatest of chums, I'm sure of it. And you see Watson just kind of give an idle nod, like kind of in that Zephyr way of just politely paying attention, but seeming not super invested.
I look over to Dr. Watson. Yes, I've already made, acquaintances with Dr. Watson here, and I would be very interested to, maybe work together too.
He kind of tilts his head to the side and smiles a bit. Well, if you take after your friend Zephyr, then I'm sure we'll get along famously. But I'm always interested to demonstrate my abilities to those who will respect them.
I'm afraid Zephyr and I are two totally different people.
Well, as long as you know to respect those who deserve respect and pay attention to the language of money, then I'm sure we'll still get along swimmingly. After all, if you have anything inherited from your father and his work, then that would be enough to substitute the ability to fill your wallet and get whatever I happen to need out of you.
Well, I mean, thanks to my father and all of his work and, being raised by him, there's a lot that I already know. And yes, I do respect people. I think that it's kind of like a requirement almost, if you know what I mean.
He gives a slow nod and smiles a bit. Indeed it is. You'd be surprised how remiss that skill is in Gyoga.
No, I wouldn't. And I kind of give a laugh, thinking about Gil.
Raccoon, meanwhile, Brogdu kind of gestures, like, kind of for the two of you to separate a bit from the group. And you can tell by his expression, it's like, oh, like these guys are going to talk for a while.
I glance towards Lucien for a moment and then follow my own curiosity.
As the two of you pull away from the group slightly, like not necessarily completely in private, but nobody pays too much mind to two goblins who are dressed to impress. You can see that Brogdu is dressed actually not too dissimilarly to you, but the entirety of the outfit is a much more extravagant and showy velvet red with yellow and golden patterns at the end, rather than the more humble, if like pretty and presentable one that you're wearing. And he kind of tilts his head to the side and scrunches up his kind of round, bulbous little goblin nose. So, what brings you here, really?
What do you mean? I'm here with my friends.
His eyes kind of narrow a bit, and he tilts his head to the other side. What colony do you come from?
Don't.
You see his eyes kind of widen, and you see the ghost of a smile flick across his face before he composes himself and pats you on the shoulder. Bit of a lone wog, as it were.
I don't know. Lorcan found me when I was. Actually, I don't know.
He gives you a nod. I don't expect you would. Probably a very long time ago. I was just curious. You remind me of someone I knew.
Who?
Uh,
How?
he kind of looks you up and down and kind of squints almost suspiciously before giving kind of a shrug of like, what harm could it do? And starts to kind of slowly guide you back in the direction of the rest of the group and kind of muttering as he goes. Gecht, this little snotball who was standing in my way a long time ago. Exiled them from the goblin colony, very young. Probably died out in the woods, and they deserved it, the little rat. They'd be about your age by now. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we figured out where she came from.
Well, possibly that could or may not be her. You know, maybe who knows?
No. No. Oh no!
Oh my
You know?
Oh, I'm just ruining every player's life tonight.
Well, no, Gil ruined his own. Like,
Yeah, Gil ruined his own fucking life.
Not intentionally.
I mean,
No,
intentionally
please,
not.
we
He
need
still
like
did
5
it.
more minutes more. We need 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes!
We need
Turns into 5 more hours.
First things first, I do want to say, Jeremy, I know you got hit pretty hard this session. I hope you weren't actually feeling bad or uncomfortable. We're not picking on you. It's all purely in character.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. This one over here is picking on me a little bit.
Hey!
Yeah.
But
But-
it was a little uncomfortable, but in a player sort of way.
I liked it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I will like tone things back or like change up things if you're getting legit. Basically, like I hope the discomfort was more at the very understandable discomfort at what was happening,
Yeah.
more than
Yeah,
like
well,
I just don't want you to
I'm
feel like
just
I'm
not-
going
I'm
out of
not
my way
used
to pick
to
on
it.
you. It's genuinely just circumstantial.
It's completely fine. It's just I've never been in a player situation like that. It's me,
Yeah, because like
and
I
that's why it was a
had
little uncomfortable.
I had reference points for like childhood friends you could have picked, and the thought occurred to me like she has the most distinct appearance, and he has no idea what their current relationship is.
Yeah.
And I'm over here just laughing my ass off.
Yeah, so I do apologize if like anyone like viewer or player was made uncomfortable. I will restrict these kind of things if it becomes necessary. But like again, I hope
it was all good.
Yeah,
sometimes you gotta get them to be uncomfortable, you know.
I just don't want to force it and make. Basically, I don't want anyone to feel like unwelcome at the table.
Yeah.
So as long as you don't feel that way.
That bomb that you dropped on me tonight was just my mind.
Yeah, no, like I tried to hit and this is the
You
first
got a bomb
hour
that
of the summer ball, and all of you have already been hit with plot.
Listen, you got like 3 of us with plot. I'm like, shit. I know who that is now.
I was surprised when you didn't react at his initial name reveal, so I was like, okay, let's keep this going for a bit.
I was no, my mouth was open during this, but I had to keep on with Raccoon, she didn't recognize the name or didn't know the name.
Oh man. So Jeremy, as long as you know that we're not picking on you and you're not legitimately like lingering uncomfortable, then like
Nah, I'll be
um,
over it soon. It was just
just a
wow.
cringe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as long as you're legitimately okay, that's what matters to me. For some round table congratulations and inspiration.
I
Um,
can't fucking believe though.
Austin, I will give Zephyr inspiration. I really liked because this was one of the few times where we got to see Zephyr really get one-on-one interaction directly with an NPC who wasn't family. So it was very interesting his kind of back and forth with Lucifer, and I do actually like how like basically I threw you the bone where you could have found evidence that Gil had tried to break in, but you just settled for like checking your stuff because that's what Zephyr was more concerned about. So for like basically refusing the bone and for like just enjoying the interaction, Zephyr will get inspiration. Gil, as like both sympathy, but also because you played it in character very well, and I appreciate that you were invested enough to actually care what was going on. I will give you inspiration. Your point of sympathy. Um, and for the record, everyone's thing was good. It's just like basically when things like really, really stand out to me, that's when I'll but don't take not getting inspiration. It's just I can't give it to everyone every session, you know. Um,
You get inspiration. You get an inspiration.
yeah, everyone gets inspiration.
Oprah inspirations.
But yeah, and for my kind of roundtable things that I didn't already mention, uh, Amanda and Sips, both of your reactions to your respective plot points being dropped were awesome. I take great pride that I don't know how much of it was in character and how much of it was out of character, but the just stunned silence from Lucian and like stuttering to come up with a response after the reveal was chef's kiss.
I literally was just completely like one shock.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was completely in
speechless.
character and her in general.
Yeah,
It was-
I'm trying.
Amanda was very speechless, and Lucy is just like, "Fuck."
With, yeah, with Raccoon, I'm having to like keep her like quieter about it because it's like I know what's going on, but she doesn't.
I know, but she doesn't. But I know, but.
So any last things anyone wants to mention before we end the stream?
I
just wow.
struggled trying to keep Raccoon from saying anything or like trying to figure out what she would say in this kind of situation other than just like plain confusion because I'm like
Yeah, I also struggled because I was like internally screaming. Like
there was the reveal and then it was like you said it like and I was like, oh, I completely blanked on Raccoon's personality for like the next 5 minutes. Oh no.
also I have to say Lucifer playing devil's advocate to Gil being the little shit that he is just made me laugh so hard.
Lucifer
And of
was
course,
the real
we all
MVP.
know when he said that his eye could see people and stuff. I'm fairly sure he was trying to get a rise out of Gil.
He was.
Oh,
Literally, for the record, I will say
He definitely was.
I will say as kind of an because it doesn't really matter, so as kind of a little DM insight. He didn't even because like he never approached Lucian directly. He saw Lucian and Raccoon coming, saw the outfit and the makeup, and was like, "Oh, this will be good," and immediately turned on his heel to run back and bother Gil.
That little shit.
Wow.
I like him. Good.
It's just like him.
And I hope we both know what kind of rise I'm talking about there.
Oh my
nice,
god.
nice. Nice.
I like how you went like gaga over.
It's true.
You were speechless over her, and then there's Summer right next to her, which you did not pay attention at all.
I just love, and I also was like in my brain for Lucian because like she has not yet.
Mm-hmm.
She thought his reaction.
Yeah, it was towards Summer.
I know,
What?
but she
what a
completely
goof.
overshadowed Summer.
Yeah, that Nat 20 makeup job raccoon was phenomenal.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
beautiful.
That was my first nat 20 of the night. My first roll of the
Yay.
night.
Hey, it paid off. Yeah, so welcome to the summer ball, everyone. Things are already getting interesting. This is
Oh
night
my
one.
God.
This
Yeah.
is gonna be a very long week.
yeah.
Oh, it really is. I need to.
Thank, Thanks everyone so much for watching. Thanks all of you so much for playing. I do hope some of the content in this did not make anyone uncomfortable, but I'm glad everyone had fun first and foremost. And we will see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Uh,